Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the EU HCS Pro League Semifinals. My name is Brycey, and I'm joined by two wonderful analysts. But before I introduce you to them and let them flex their incredible expert knowledge on Halo, the game coming up is Infused versus Xmen. So I think it's about time we met these teams.
Winning means everything to myself and my team. This is the main reason we play this game. Being titled the best European team means absolutely, it means everything to all of us. It's the reason we put all this time in leading up to it, and yeah, we're buzzing to share what we're made of. The biggest rivals this weekend on paper will always be us and Fab Esports, mainly due to the fact that Foxy left us to go join them, and we're going to prove to him that he's made the biggest mistake of his career.
I'm a lot more confident than I thought I'd be, with the fact that these players always want to turn up. I've never seen people that want to turn up more when it actually matters.
We've been practicing every day as much as we possibly can. We take a few days off, we go through our weak points, we go through all the maps, we analyse what we can work on, we watch gameplays back, we do everything we possibly can. Winning means everything to us. I mean, ever since we started in the Pro League, we never even had the goal of even reaching top 4 was just our minimum goal, and finishing top 4 in the top 2 in the Pro League even was it was such a surprise to all of us, and it made us all realise that we could take the whole event.
You can have the whole crowd watching and everyone at home watching, and I think everyone on our team is really hungry to prove how good we are and how we can be the best team when we play our game.
Welcome to the arena, Team Infused and Xmen.
Ladies and gentlemen, for our next match in the European Pro League season finals, Infused and Xmen. Yes, more fantastic Halo action coming your way. Teams, get to your places, but we'll have a chat with Doodle and Ramirez first. Gents, come up the front here. Hey, so, let's have a bit of chat about your performance this season, because I think it might be fair to say you've been a little overlooked. Now, what I mean by that is you guys are second seed. Fantastic result for you through the Pro League. We've talked a bit about how Fabi are completely undefeated. We've talked a bit about how Vibe made it through last minute into this. You guys, second, pretty much been there all season. Scoring, been a solid season for you.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think a lot of teams are banking us not being as good at the event. But I feel like people do forget how good we have performed, and if we do perform at this event, we definitely will minimum be the second best team.
And you got a solid roster as well. You guys haven't been chopping and changing, you guys are just together, and it's working really well. So how's your preparation been coming up to the live finals?
Just scrimming as much as we can, trying to play against Fabi as much as we can usually, because they're probably the best practice, and playing Xmen a lot as well, so we're definitely really well practiced turning into the event.
You guys have been scrimming together a lot. Okay, so you guys, I'm going to gently say, third is not where anybody really thought you would be coming into these finals. It's great that you're here, you know, Pro League finals, it all gets finished today, but there was a huge pressure on you guys at the start of the season. You got Jimbo, you got Snipe Dome, you got players who made the top 8 of the World Championship, shocked a lot of American teams, showed that Europe can compete up there. How do you feel being third seed here?
It means nothing. We got to the event, that's all we wanted to do. Now we're at the event, we can do what we want to do, which is obviously win. We'll see what happens when we play our series here against Infused. I mean, they outranked us online. They sort of deserved to, because my team had a few problems, but we'll see what happens when we play the big boy series.
It's all done now. We just push that season behind us and we see how we perform on all the best of sevens today.
Yep, pretty much. That's the goal.
Now, you guys are, how should we put this? It's time you turned up at LAN. Jimbo was saying, it doesn't matter, we're going to put this, much like yourself, we're going to put all this aside. We turn up at LAN. So how have you got ready to do that?
We've come to the event.
That's all it takes. Just get on the bus, turn up here.
Yeah, pretty much. We're here, we know what we got to do. We're confident for a reason. I mean, there's being cocky, there's being confident. I mean, we've got every reason to be confident. No, we're not overlooking these guys, we're not overlooking anyone, but we'd be fools if we didn't believe in our own ability.
Well, that's true. I think of all the teams, you've all made it here to Pro League Finals. You wouldn't be here if you didn't think you can win this thing. So yeah, that's the right attitude to bring into all of this. Now, when you met earlier on in the season, because all of the teams in Halo Pro League, they all play 2 games a week. You've all played all of the other teams twice. You have beaten them 3-0, and you've beaten them 3-0 as well. Now, I did a quick straw poll of this fantastic crowd that we've got here at ESL Studio 1. And this audience, almost 50-50, but reckon you're going to take this. How do you predict this turning out?
I think it'll definitely be a close series, but I think we'll definitely edge them out.
Any scoreline prediction you'd like to say?
4-3.
4-3. We're going all the way in a fantastic best of 7. 4-3 the other way around for you, or a bit quicker than that? It's not going to be simple. This is not going to be any walkover.
I reckon it could be a 4-0 if we get the ball rolling early.
Could be a 4-0. Okay, right. Well, let's have a handshake between you guys. Good luck to both teams. It's going to be a fantastic series to see who progresses further on during the winners bracket. Remember, it's all best of 7s all day here. Tweet us your thoughts with the hashtag HCS. Infused, Xmen. Who's going to win? We know what they think. Let's find out what Brycey and the boys on the desk think.
Thank you very much. Well, we are going to get into this one. Team Infused versus Xmen. Second and third going against each other, but what do you think of this matchup, just off the top of your head?
I'll let you start, my friend.
This is, in my opinion, probably the 2 closely matched teams that we have. It's very interesting, sort of different ends of the spectrum. You have very, very experienced players on Xmen, whereas you have these up-and-coming, everything-to-prove players on Infused. So this is kind of, for Infused, if they take this series, it will be one of those, we are now top players. Whereas in Xmen, if Xmen lose it, maybe they're not the top players anymore, and the questions start to get asked. But if they do win this convincingly, nobody can question their ability as players.
But let's quickly just weigh that up when you say opposite end of the spectrum. Xmen, almost 40 wins combined as players. Infused, 0. Simple as that. And it really couldn't be 2 different teams going at it. But again, Infused, as much as I put them down, I don't put them down, but I certainly count them out compared to these other teams. They're still second in the Pro League for a reason.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's an interesting point. I mean, you're already saying you kind of favour the Xmen. On paper, they're the better team. But Infused right now have a better record. It's not by much, admittedly. One's 5-5, one's 6-4. So there's not a massive difference between the two. But, you know, well, we're not playing this game on paper. Who turns up today? What do you think?
I think it's a very interesting point you say on paper. I'm sure Xmen are sick of hearing that. Ever since the Pro League started, when the Pro League started, this is the God Squad on paper. Everything on paper, but they just haven't put in the performances we expect. They found themselves in a position halfway through the season where they obviously acquired Ramirez, and he's added a lot of stability and he's one of those players that allows everyone else in that team to shine. But yeah, I think on paper is something that Xmen are bored of, and they're going to want to bring it today. Live event, that's where their home is, and they're going to want to prove that they're still top.
And funnily enough about Infused, they are the only team here that today that are still the same roster locked from day number 1 of the Pro League. They are the only team here out of these 4 that have gone all the way through without a single team change. Fair enough, there was vicious rumours in the wind at one point. We heard
vicious rumours.
Yeah, we heard
not normal rumours.
There were some vicious rumours. However, there was nothing official, and they are still the same roster that they started at the start of the season with.
Do you think it's a good or bad thing, though?
I personally think it's a good thing because I like stability between a roster. You know, I'm a big fan. Fair enough. If you're making a change, you're making a change for the good. But I'm not a fan of, oh look, there's a player over there that used to be decent, let's grab him and stick him on. Don't fix what's not broke. Simple as that. This team is second, you know, they started off the same roster, they're second in the Pro League. Why try to change something up just to go after number 1? Why not work with what you've got and chase that number 1 spot?
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, all of these players, you know, they're young, hungry players. Doodle's the most experienced player on that Warlord on that lineup, in my opinion. He's been to the Halo World Championships. He would have gathered so much experience from going out there, and he's going to be able to translate that to all of the players on that team. When you have 3 new players and a player like that on a team, all they're going to do, they're going to be like sponges. They're so eager to learn, and that's exactly what they've shown so far. So them sticking together, getting that knowledge out of Doodle, all of them are big grinders in the playlist as well. Like, they have played so many hours of this game, it's ridiculous. Like, whenever me and Rich jump online, we know we can play with some of these players. They'll carry us. But yeah, them sticking together is so important. I think it's vital for their performance this season.
The batch pack is real. Yeah, the batch pack will always jump online and carry me a map. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. Doodle is a nice little addition to that team. It is a nice little roster. And again, this event, they prove to the people why they are good, why they are professional, and why they are second in the league.
All right, well, there's a couple of hypotheticals coming out of the back of that then. Infused do well here, justifies the roster, justifies their placement. Certainly a good thing for them. What if they don't do well? What if they come here and really doesn't justify? What if they really struggle?
I am concerned that we may see a team change.
Well, you're dressed a little bit like a wheeler dealer today.
Oh,
how would you change the team?
That's me. That's me. All right, fella, how you doing? You all right? Yeah. Do you want some windows?
How would I change the team? If I had to, I'd probably say if they do go flopping out of this event, that they need someone with a little bit more experience in terms of got wins under their belt. Someone like Ramirez, who doesn't mind doing a bit of dirty work, who's got event knowledge, who's got LAN knowledge, who's got LAN experience, who's got what it takes to win events in the past, just to bring that wealth of knowledge of, all right, lads, you're a young set of guys, but this is how we play it in the real world. But you know what? Again, if they just play their game, what they've been doing online, and bring it to this event, it might not be needed.
All right, well, before we get too much into the hypotheticals and start rearranging these rosters before we've played, let's look at the actual rosters then and go through the team. So let's actually have a look at these players, and I want you to point out and highlight the players not only we're looking at, but maybe some of the storylines that we've seen so far. It's Infused. I'll tell you what, Ansel, you take me through it.
Well, obviously we've got Batchford at the start, Flux, Warlord and Doodle. Sticking together, as we previously talked about, the only team in the finals not to make a change, which is definitely going to be a benefit for them. And aside from Fabi, Infused have had the longest win streak of 3 series during the season, which is something I wasn't actually that aware of. So that's pretty impressive stat from him. Obviously, we've mentioned Doodle and his performances at Halo World Championship, but you look across that roster there, it is a dangerous, dangerous roster. You've got Batchford and Flux can go off at any time. Warlord, again, he was one of the sneakiest players you will see on Halo 5, always in an annoying position and just being a nuisance to the opposition team. And then you've got the experience of Doodle, and we talked about, you mentioned it, the Ramirez type of player. I think Doodle is that type of player on this team. He is willing to do anything, any of the dirty work in order to get that win.
All right, well, we can take a little look at their overall league record and what speaks volumes here to you. Obviously, they didn't win anything against Fab because nobody does, but right now, I mean, for me, looking at this against Xmen, they've won one, they've lost one.
Yeah, I mean, winning one and lost one, it's you say you're going into this series, it is a coin toss on that record, but this is a live event and we can't talk. I don't want to jump too much into Xmen because obviously we're going to cover those in a minute, but they are a different team online to what they are at LAN. So this is a real big matchup for Team Infused. If they can prove that they can do exactly that and beat the Xmen on LAN, it's a totally different, it puts them in a different spot in other people's eyes.
Yeah, I think it would change the reputation a little bit. It would cause us, certainly, to look at them under a little bit of a different light. And you know what, that's something we'll keep an eye on after the game. We'll have to have a look at how they played, where we actually benchmark them against everybody else and say, you know what, are they better here or are they better not? But let's move on now. Let's talk a little bit about their opponents, the Xmen. Sims, what do you think?
When you look at this roster, Snipe Drone, Jimbo, Chalky, Ramirez. Chalky and Jimbo, both fan favourites over in the NA. I believe last time when we were playing H2A, Chalky, until one of the recent events, was on a 7 event spree of grabbing an overkill, especially over in the States when he did damage to them. Ramirez, that much needed foundation, a pillar within this team, the teamwork and everything that needs to bring it together. But yeah, the Jim Drone combo is as real as ever. These two always work in tandem. Snipe Drone will just bounce off Jim, off their map movement, off their map placement to get in the right positions. And as we kind of said before, it's very, very even. Obviously going down previous to their old teammates, the Dinosaurs, that was a bit of a kick in the face for them. I certainly think it was a reverse sweep as well, that match. That kind of put them down and was the point of, all right, boys, now we need to really make something change. This is where the team change came in during the team changes allowance. But, you look at Infused, we're currently 1 apiece here. This is to settle the score, so to speak.
Yeah, I certainly think so. I think it's interesting now. They beat each other at some point. You bring it to the big event. You've got a best of 7. You've got vetoes as well going in there. Make sure that it's kind of a fair competition. You get your best and worst maps removed. So for me, I think this is a big thing, and I think a lot of pride on the line as well. Because although Infused are the 2nd seed and Xmen are the 3rd, everyone's saying, Xmen should be better than Infused. Infused obviously want to prove that's false. Xmen want to prove that's true.
That's a great point. I think, again, there's a lot of respect actually between these two teams. I don't think that people understand. Everyone seems to be ranking Infused as that sort of 4th place team at the moment. But I think you spoke to Ramirez, as you previously alluded to, and you said that Ramirez is not underestimating this squad. He knows how dangerous they are, and he knows if any of the players on that team take them lightly, they're going to lose. It is as simple as that.
We did an interview with him on the Pro League when we're just generally getting people's feelings on the last Thursday of the general play. In his own words, we asked him about Infused. And, Ramirez, again, you'd be stupid going into a game to think, yeah, we're going to lose this, or yeah, we're going to lose these guys. You can't do that. But when we kind of look at what he mentioned, he said, we'd be extremely stupid to not say they're good. It'd be very ignorant to underestimate Infused and say they're a bad team, because they're not. It's a nice little roster, and honestly, they're definitely capable of something this weekend.
Well, I think that's the difference. I've said this before. Being a good team, there's no shame in being a good team, but you just might not be a great team. And that can be the difference. They're not bad unless you put them in the context of maybe playing an elite level team, maybe like Fab at the moment, who are so good. And you can look bad against them. And it doesn't make you a bad team, it makes you a good team that just isn't on that level.
Well, the making of a great team is beating another great team. If you're a good team, you take down a team of so-called great players. We talk about all this on paper stuff, but you mentioned all the event wins. If Infused win this game, they have to be put into that bracket again.
Just really, really quickly before I move into the veto system as such, when we look, the one difference you'll see between these two teams, and we saw it in Pro League again when they were matching people like Pulse Gaming, the people have Infused. When the game gets tough at the start, things escalate out of control rapid because they struggle to handle it. A team like Xmen will say, all right, boys, things are going wrong, let's fix it. And that is the one thing to watch out from these two rosters.
All right, well, you said it yourself. Let's have a little look at the vetoes now and see how this first map is going to play out. So, Colosseum taken away, then Stasis, then Fathom, which means we're going to be playing Truth to kick things off. Guys, initial thoughts on that?
I think that Infused is going to be pretty happy with that, because Infused are pretty solid on Truth. Just having a quick look across here, we look at Truth CTF. Their record's actually 2 and 3, so they're not particularly good, but their VO percentage is down at 6%. So they obviously think this is one of their stronger game types, and that looks like a pretty good one for me for Team Infused.
Look for Batchpack to be walking up to P2, getting out a tent, and then just throwing Doodle in there. Because time and time again, he'll either have a BR or a carbine, he'll take them, he'll let his teammates revolve around looking at the sword, camo, fuel rod. But you would just have Doodle, this anchor, this pillar. He will sit in P2 and he will not move. No matter what game type it is, he will lock down that entire, we say the 50-yard line. He will lock down that 50-yard line, but he will just watch the ramps and just pick people off and really be a nuisance and annoyance more than anything. And by doing that, you're kind of putting a lot of pressure on the opposing team, but you're also stopping any direct route through P2 or even P1 because he can see people below him.
All right, well, I think it's interesting. I mean, to be fair, it is their pick. They kind of wanted to play this. So, yeah, I mean, for me, Infused, it's a great start for them. But let's actually have a look at all of the maps now, bring it up. And we've got the vetoes ourselves, so we'll kind of look for any patterns and anything to kind of point out for you. But let's take a little look at how this one actually plays out in its entirety. So you guys, my experts at Halo, can kind of figure out exactly where this one is going. Now, I do know the next map we are going to be playing is Plaza. Map 2 will be Plaza.
I've seen both teams win this map.
You keep reminding me of second-hand car salesman. Oh, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you.
I told you. You mentioned that I was the salesman over
I would say, and this is just me going out on a whim here, I'm going to say because there's a sniper rifle on this, I'm going to give this one to the Xmen, because when you look at Jim, when you look at Chalky, when you look at Snipe Drone, all right, credit where credit's due. Anyone Infused can pick up that sniper rifle and make it work, but Xmen, knowing what kind of weapon that is, they will be efficient at timing it, monitoring it, and more than anything, keeping it on their 50% of the side and just really setting up. Snipe Drone is, you don't put your name as that, you don't put that weapon in your title unless you're not only going to be good with it, but completely owning it, and I'd be worried for Infused on that map personally.
Yeah, and we look at Plaza, those 2 games actually, it seems like, looking at the statistics, that Infused actually have a bit of a worse record on both of the game types on Plaza than the Xmen do. So that's actually going to favour them ever so slightly, in my opinion. But yeah, you've talked about Sniper Drone, and any map with a sniper on, you've got to give some advantage to the Xmen.
So I'd say Truth Infused, Plaza Xmen, personally.
Okay.
Fathom Catcher the Flag. What do you think, Mark?
Well, Xmen actually have a pretty poor record on this. They're 1-3, whereas Infused are actually 1-1. So that one seems to actually favour Infused, in my opinion. Xmen seem to be struggling on this map for whatever particular reason, and they actually have a 31% veto rate on that, so that's pretty high.
It is a very super fast-paced map, as in, you know, there are a lot of kills and a lot of deaths on it. It's not something like Plaza where you can necessarily set up a full setup and kind of hold it down. You can't really hold anywhere down for long on Fathom, because with the sight lines and where you're looking from, you're either going to be in tree or you're going to be on top mid, and you're going to get shut down. So I'll go with you on that, and let's say 2-2 now. We're going into Game 5, the Rig Slayer.
Well, look at the stats on Rig Slayer. Infused haven't played it yet in Pro League.
Well, and what about the side of Xmen?
They've played it once.
And we're just going to go with that one then?
And they lost.
Well,
so
wow.
On those deep, insightful statistics we've just provided there, it's a guaranteed Infused win, is it not?
Is it?
No, of course it's not. We have no idea. The stats show nothing. Gaskin, you are meant to be Mr. Stat.
Come
You've
on,
let us down.
Gaskin, you've let us down. All right, so let's get your initial feelings. And actually, you know, let's get full feelings. Let's put money where mouth is. Based on the maps, based on everything we've talked about and everything we've seen of these teams, Sims, give me a prediction.
Xmen.
Onset?
Xmen, but it's going to go late in the series.
Okay, I'm going to go with the Xmen as well. I feel more comfortable with them. So we're all in agreement here as well. It does look like we're all going with the Xmen, and I think that's more down to pedigree of players. Am I right?
Yeah, experience is invaluable.
100%.
It's intangible.
Is there anything in the maps you thought may give an edge to either team?
Young, aggressive play style of Infused. It could catch the old dogs off guard. That's the only thing, just the pure raw aggression of Team Infused.
All right, well, we've broken it down. We've had all we've had to say here. It's time to get this game underway. It's going to be Infused versus Xmen. This time, it's brought to you by the 2 most handsome Halo casters in the world. It's Gaskin and Bravo.
Thank you, Brycey. Far too kind. Bravo in the booth with Gaskin ready to get this match underway in just a bit. Dan, as you and I look at down those vetoes as well, we're thinking this could go towards the latter half of the series as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe something like a 4-2. Infused have looked really strong across the whole season, really, and I think we're overlooking them because of their inexperience, but we've just seen Fabi, who had a few inexperienced players, or a couple of inexperienced players, performing well on a live event, so I think Infused could do the same.
Yeah, absolutely, and as we look at the series, it's actually not too different from what I'll even say we saw in the first Dinosaur series, where they were dominant on those flags, and I think we're both expecting to see Xmen be dominant in those flags. The 2 plazas in the middle, of course, are an opportunity for Infused to steal some games there, but the first game is going to be CTF Truth, and I do believe we're going to be jumping into that in just a moment. Specifically on Truth here, what are you going to be looking for from Xmen? What's the difference maker?
Well, their record just speaks volumes, really. They're 3-0 across Pro League season against Infused 2-3, like Mark was saying earlier. I'm going to be looking towards players like Chalky and Ramirez really to be rotating together and just putting those shots in on bases. And then you've just got such talent from Sniper Drone and Jimbo as well. There's going to be a lot of duo battles, I believe, in this game.
Yes, indeed. Now, I think we're going to go ahead and kick things off here with Chalky in this game, of course, on the Xmen side, and we are about to be underway as these players are flying in here. You're watching Chalky. He's going to push out right away towards this pink side, see if he can get a pull on Camo, but immediately finds some resistance, being shot back down to the street, so he'll have to pause momentarily. And taking a look, Camo is indeed still up, so looking across all the screens, and it's actually going to be Flux on the other side who grabs it. However, great work from Ramirez in the stripe zone to annihilate those players, and a pretty good opening here from Xmen.
Yeah, interestingly, their players just kind of they held off a little bit on that Camo, and Chalky has instead decided to go for that Furor Cannon up top mid. We saw a couple of players just ignoring Furor Cannon in the past few games, so I'm glad to see a player like Chalky's caliber grabbing this weapon, and the kills look like they're going towards Xmen right now. They've got a bit of early control. If they can kind of push forward, get a few more kills, might be able to get an early flagpole here.
Yeah, that's going to be a Sniper Drone who's all the way back at his base. He's going to be able to pull that in, so that was a Jimbo-assisted flag run. Jimbo brought it pink 1, challenged but was unable to finish, and it's going to be Stripe Drone who closes. So on board now with Stripe Drone, Xmen up 1-0.
Yeah, nice easy flagpole. Like I said, they just got a lot of early kills. They kept Infused under control, and at the moment, actually, Xmen look pretty invincible. They're just cleaning up everyone that they see. Sniper Drone doing some fantastic work with shots, getting the double as well on Flux there.
It looks like there's even a third player weak in the base. We'll have to go ahead and take a look in just a moment, but still on board now with Snipe Drone here as he's pushing in, and it looks like Xmen is indeed keeping up that pressure. I have to say, you wonder, was that the right play out of Infused to try to force that camo early on, because it obviously cost them?
Yes, I think that's why Xmen left it as well. We saw a couple of Infused players push towards it. They died. Flux did get it, but he got taken out as well. And now I'm loving this control of the map from Snipe Drone as well, just sitting patiently in that bubble, controlling the spawns, blocking the spawns, and now he is just waiting to find the Infused players spawning under that base. He can't quite finish off Batchford though, but he will be able to pull this flag and continue running it towards the base.
And interesting, if you ask me, that we didn't see Ramirez take the pink 2 route, right? Because he might have stayed alive if he had done so. However, he's now bringing it in. It looks like they're also going to be trying to tee up that return. Potentially, if they do, they will go up 2-0. However, Snipe Drone falls as well. So over to the other side now with Infused, going to be Flux, who's making a push from his base, but they've got the return, so that should be an easy cap. Not just yet. Let's see. And that is, yes, indeed. Xmen goes up 2-0 there as they force the second one home.
Yeah, it was a nice attempt from Doodle, just jumping in that base, making sure he got the kill on Snipe Drone, but unfortunately wasn't enough. Infused, they really just need to try and get some control of this map. At the moment, they seem to be all over the place, but Flux has picked up the second camouflage of the game, so I wonder if he's going to be able to do anything with this one.
Right, certainly if he plays his cards right, they might be able to do something, but take a look at their team composition right now. They've got 3 players in the enemy base with their flag out as well, so lots of confusion across the board. And of course, Flux is going to want to stay alive here. Finds 1, that's Chalky. Might find 2 on Snipe Drone. Yes, turns 2, but he will be taken down as well. So now over to Warlord, who just picked up that sword.
Yeah, big double there from Flux. I like his patience with the camo. He did pull the flag, but he said actually that would probably be a waste of my camouflage. Infused need to kind of calm down at the moment. I think they're a little bit hectic. They seem a little bit panicky about their play, but Warlord has got the sword. He will be able to run this flag nice and quickly. If he gets the right support from his teammates, which Flux is doing well, this could be 2-1.
And looks like, yes, indeed, I believe one of those players is going to bring it in, and Infused answers back, getting their first flag on the board. Now 2-1 still in favor of Xmen, but like you said, Infused now taking some form and showing some shape.
Yeah, they're pushing a little bit better together now. They do have the control of the carbines, the battle rifle, and they're pushing around. I mean, just having the sword as well in your back pocket is always going to be good for Warlord here. He just needs to push with his teammates. He needs to coordinate well. And as you can see now, a player just supporting him there at P2, but he's going to decide to hold top middle and pick up this battle rifle instead of carbine.
Yep, now scanning across, looking for any players who might be on the carbine. Several players right there around the opponent's base as they're continuing to rack up kills here. However, it looks like they don't have the exact composition they want to run a flag just yet. A player in each of the sneakies, of course, will be a good setup for them. It's going to be an easy kill for Warlord, but due to the fact that he did receive a melee as well, he's going to have to delay further in the flag grab.
Yeah, nice just dodging and weaving there from Warlord. I think he thought a player was in the base with him on the radar, but was actually below him under the base. He is going to try and pull this flag now as well. But this is good work from Warlord. He stayed alive for a couple of minutes now, and he's communicating well with his team. You can clearly see that as he's just finishing off everyone that spawns. Eventually, he is taken down.
Yes, indeed. I want to go over to Snipe Drone because he's actually doing the same exact thing on the other side of the map, right? He's trying to get, that's his own side of the map, getting that return right now as he's able to get that, and looks like Xmen will get an easy reset right there. I'm also scanning across to see if we do have any players here. Yes, camo is up, so now I'm going to keep an eye on that, and looks like Snipe Drone. I'm not sure if that was a burn. I got to look across. Looks like, yes, that was a burn of the camo. So Xmen and Snipe Drone continuing to do well to monitor that camo time and immediately neutralize that threat. So we'll stay here at 2-1.
Yeah, it was a burn, but it was Flux again just pushing towards that camouflage. Clearly, he's the man that you're going to be looking at to be timing those power-ups and those power weapons as well, but unfortunately he was taken down by Snipe Drone. Xmen need to find the form that they had in the start of this game, really. It seemed like they've sat back a bit after they had that 2-0 lead, and actually Batchford taking down Snipe Drone with his sword.
Yeah, that Batchford has earned a point of view for sure after landing that melee kill, so that might have given his team the much-needed boost. However, it looks like he's actually going to do a bit of doubling back, which is a wise play because you don't want to be able to. You're not going to be able to push out if there's players behind you like that. It's a good win, but it's Chalky in the end, I believe. Yes, who immediately gets that kill and starts the run for Xmen. So far, he is untouched as he moves this on carbine side with longtime friend Jimbo here assisting on top car as well.
Yeah, he actually decided to just throw that flag. He said, Jimbo, look, you can run that flag if you want. It was a nice spawn actually from Jimbo, but the flag has been taken out by Infused, and no one's picked up the flag just yet. There it goes now, and now Chalky just needs to be careful and watch out for these spawns.
I'm going to go ahead and show you these flag carriers. We got Jimbo going from bubble all the way back in, but his flag is out, but I believe it's actually Chalky who has found him, and that was Doodle at pink 1 who's been down. So I do believe we're going to see possibly a return in just a second as we scan across. No players on Infused are in a position for a touch just yet, and it looks like actually Batchford is going to be the player rushing out to get it. So we will stay in the flag stalemate.
Yeah, we've got this standoff, and now we'll see which players decide to be the aggressors and who's going to be on the defense. Jimbo obviously sitting with the flag, a solid player with it. He's got carbine in hand as well, so nice defensive approach. But Flux is approaching from this carbine side, so they do need to be careful. What I've noticed from a couple of the teams is they do like to sit back wait until they get a kill and then they push out aggressively as maybe a 2 or 3.
That's right. I'll give you a look at that other flag carrier as well. It's going to be Batchford sitting in your traditional area. Picks up a nice flag kill on Ramirez there, long distance into the pink window. But, of course, Infused is a team that has to play this a little bit differently. If you're on Xmen right now, you can be a little more aggressive in your attempts to rush out and get the return. Infused does not have that luxury. They don't have that pillow. Should they let up a flag, of course, they will lose the game. But this next camo could be a deciding factor. I believe it's another burn from Snipe Drone. So this time it's Xmen getting the burn.
Yeah, they did get the burn there. And nice perfect there just to make sure that that fuel rod cannon gets taken down from Chalky. So he won't be able to do any damage. Ramirez is actually caught in the bubble there as well. He was trying to sneak around. But I think that's kind of says a lot about both of these teams. You've got players on either side that like to be the flankers, especially someone like Warlord. I'd be expecting him to be making the move to try and take this flag down.
Yeah, I have to say, really nice work from Batchford to avoid any grenades that are coming in. Surprised, though, he had 3 grenades just now. He could have tossed at Ramirez in the bubble, but he actually didn't toss. Potentially a tactical decision to wait for even more difficult times that may be ahead here, but looks like he is receiving some pressure. I believe he's going to have a player still pushing in above him, so it seems like Xmen is now really trying to force that return, but we want to go off of his screen to show you exactly what's going on that push, and I believe it's the other side who's staying alive. Let's see. Actually, Snipe Drone was taking down, so now we'll go over to Doodle here on the other side, who does have the fuel rod in hand, of course, which could play a big role in resolving this flag stalemate.
Yeah, Infused were on the defense for a little bit, but they got 2 important kills. Doodle's now found a fuel rod cannon as a little bit of a present. Gets a nice headshot there on Chalky, and he will now push in with his fuel rod cannon. There is another one coming up as well. He's looking across. Great shots, and actually Batchford finishes it off from the base. Yep. If now he can get this kill, they might be able to push in and get a return here.
He needs to go, make sure that nade doesn't catch his teammate, but you're absolutely right. He needs to go right now. Finds 2 in the bubble spawn as well. Really great shots here from Doodle to continue to push the enemy team back. Let's see. Doesn't look like a return just yet. Might use the stabilize, but that does not tee up as he wanted it to, so he's going to have to reset bottom, middle, front base. Once again, eventually taken down, though, and my goodness, I thought Doodle was going to have that return right there as they pushed in, but flags are still both away.
Yeah, it was good shots there from Doodle, but he just seemed to get a little bit unfortunate with the spawns that were around him, and he couldn't finish them off. He ran out of fuel rod cannon ammo as well, as Infused are slightly on the back foot, and now we will see the kind of attack come out of the Xmen in the form of Jimbo. He's kind of just going to give word to his teammates of where that flag is and just sit back, and now he's going to grab the flag, and he's going to be the anchor point.
All right, now we'll keep an eye on Jimbo, but we want to show you what's going on the other side of the map. But just as quickly as I say that, it's actually Snipe Drone who is taken down immediately. So we'll stay with Jimbo as he's now making the aggressive push. And finally, we'll see a camo. Keep in mind, last 2 camos have been burned, so they have been ineffective. But this could be the first camo in several minutes that could be a big playmaker and piece of this, especially when you have the fuel rod in hand as well. Here comes Jimbo. He wants to end the game now.
Yeah, the sword was also up as well, but he has decided to go for the fuel rod. Jimbo's in a fantastic position here now. He can be a sneaky little beaver. He will probably take out Flux with a nice shot there as well, but he's looking around and he can't actually see the flag, so the flag is hiding at the moment.
He doesn't know. Actually, I believe we have it's Batchford who was front base, so it looks like he's going to kill them, but let's see on his team if there's anyone here. I'm going to go to Chalky now. They're going to try to get this return. He needs to win this battle right here, and he might be able to, but he's going to face a lot of resistance from the opposite side of the map. Of course, Infused has the pressure on because they absolutely need to get this touch. Doodle's trying to make it happen. Looks like that might be it. Flag, I believe, is going to go in, and in any moment, yes, indeed, Xmen close out game number 1 with a score of 3-1.
Fantastic there from Chalky, almost getting a triple kill at the end there. That's just the pressure that Xmen needed. They waited patiently. Jimbo was just anchoring in the base, and they took their time. So, yeah, fantastic.
And I think, Xmen, what they did right there was, they played that advantage. They knew that they had a little bit of extra time, but we'll go ahead and take a look at the stats here, which are now on your screen as we switch over. Looks like we'll try to pull up the kills and deaths across the board here as we switch over. Maybe take a look at Batchford. But, I mean, what I saw was Xmen played that really, really wise. And they knew that they had the extra little bit of cushion to be able to actually push out like that, right? So here we go. We'll take a look. I believe as they were just switched over, we'll pull up the stats again. But Xmen, they knew they had the extra cushion, and they played those last pushes quite wise.
21 kills from Batchford as well is what I saw. Actually, he did some real
21,
work.
Yeah, 21 and 10 from Batchford. We can right there if we want to go ahead and pull up this stats screen on Snipe Drone. As you see, 19 and 22 from Flux on the other side, but you also did have Chalky there with 19 and 15. Pretty good stats.
Yeah, and I just think it was a solid performance from Xmen all round, actually. There we go. The stats are finally on the screen. 16 assists from Snipe Drone. Not usually what you'd expect from Snipe Drone, actually. They're kind of known for being the main slayer, but across the board for Infused, not much assists there. So you suggest their shot wasn't kind of on par with the Xmen, but Xmen just came out of the blocks so early in that game. I was expecting a nice quick 3-0, so Infused did well to respond nice early.
Also got to look at the damage dealt. It looks pretty even across the board, everyone really from the 2100s to the 2800s, but it's surprising to see Warlord there with only 1300, potentially using a little bit of a more sneaky strategy, but at the same, yeah, go ahead.
The thing is with Warlord, he is one of those players who likes to get behind, and if the other team does know that, they will try and single him out, they will make sure they're ready for that flank. You saw a couple of players from the Xmen that were just anchoring in their base and they were waiting for Warlord, so he wasn't given the opportunity to do what he does best.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, as you see, also a few, of course, power weapon kills coming out of Ramirez as well. It looked like both teams had, I have to say, just as we look ahead in this series, it looked like both teams had pretty good grip on the camo times. That they were contested and burned several times back and forth. So that could be a sign of good things to come for a very even series up ahead. You know, typically you might expect a team like Xmen to have a real grip on something like that. However, the fact that Infused had a few clutch burns was, and even grabs was important.
And that's the benefit of live events when you get your coaches. So obviously you've got Warlord's brother there coaching Infused, and on the other side you've got Professor X himself, Mr. Xavier. So shout out to those guys for being the 5th member of that team. I think they are quite often overlooked, but actually it's a very important role. You would know yourself how important it is to be a coach.
Absolutely, and I have to definitely hand it to these two coaches. When you see every single camo pretty much grabbed within the first few seconds of it spawning, it means those coaches are doing a great job making sure their team is not only aware, because being aware of those is half the job. Actually getting your teammates into positions to contest and control and grab is a very different story. So far we have seen that Xmen win. They are up 1-0 as you see on your screen over Infused. And the next game we're going to be going to is TS Plaza. Right now you have that as potentially a game that Infused could steal to tie the series.
Yeah, Infused have a relatively good record across Pro League. They're 2-1, so it's a solid game type for them. Their veto percentage only 14% as well, so quite low. On the other hand, Xmen have only played it once. They did win it, but it's one of their highest veto maps, so you'd like to think that this one would favour Infused, but you never know with these vetoes whether they're trying to just single out particular teams.
Exactly, yeah, that's exactly it. So, we'll have to see exactly how they play this. I haven't had a chance to see as much Infused games as I'd like. How do you expect them pace-wise to play this map, of course, because it's a map that can be played from a variety of different points and speeds as well?
It's a good one because actually across the season Infused have tried a different kind of play styles. Originally they were being very aggressive just because of the nature of their players. They are kind of very individual, but because they've grown as a team and they've really developed as a 4, they've kind of found more structure in themselves and they've kind of slowed their game down, which actually I think has benefited them a lot. They're reluctant to make unnecessary pushes. They don't want to take too many individual fights, and I think that's fantastic to show that kind of patience from such a young squad.
Yeah, yes indeed. We'll have to see if they can execute on that. Of course, on the other side, Xmen going to be looking to continue pulling off some wins here. These players are now loading in, going to be ready to jump in just a moment. You see some of the stats from that first game scrolling across your screens, but in terms of their Plaza Slayers here, what kind of records do we have?
Yeah, so just 1-0 for Xmen, but you're going to be looking at kind of your snipe drone here. There is a sniper on the map, and he is just fantastic. And it feels bad because Chalky is one of the best snipers in Europe as well, but now he's on a team with snipe drone. He's kind of had to take that back foot, maybe play more of a support role, maybe just play more of a rifle kind of role. But you can trust any of these players with a sniper. I know a lot of people say, Ramirez, he's just kind of an objective player. I don't even agree with that at all. He is absolutely a fantastic player. He knows exactly how to use every single weapon. We've saw him put up some ridiculous stats in the last few weeks of Pro League as well. So I'd expect the sniper to be confident in any of those hands.
Certainly. Looking forward to seeing which one might put on a show. I mean, yesterday we saw some pretty crazy sniping sprees, whether it be Plaza or Coliseum as well. Looking forward to seeing another show just like that. So your game 2 is going to be Slayer and Plaza, of course. 12 minutes on the clock, 50 kills to win. And really it's going to be all about controlling these power points on the map. Of course, overshield on your screen right there. Watch for players to be going for that immediately off the break. And of course, the opening rush really will depend on exactly which team can land those key shots. Who do you want to start things off with?
Yeah, I just want to see what Snipe Drone does. I mean, you'd think he would head towards the sniper, but you never know with these guys. Xmen like to just switch things up. They don't want to be too predictable against this Infused side.
All right, now let's see. We'll get that camera fixed there, as you do see Chalky and Snipe Drone's POV right there. So we'll go ahead and switch off in just a moment. But we'll see on this rush here exactly what's going to happen with this sniper rifle. It looks like it's going to be able to stay alive is Snipe Drone, so he's well done. Now we'll go ahead and take a look. Oh, wow. My goodness. as we're staying on board with him. Chalky getting all the credit for Snipe Drone's hard work right now.
Yeah, the Chalky phase is actually his Snipe Drone, but I mean, this is what I was expecting. Just being able to pick up that sniper, doing some absolutely disgusting things. And what you will know about Snipe Drone, he is actually unfortunately taken down. He's very good with his movement with his sniper. He likes to move around. His team will kind of play around him when he does have that rifle in hand.
That's it. Jimbo is taken down. So now we'll switch over to Chalky, who's the third player across on the X-Men side, as we did have 2 players down for each team. So now we're tied up here at 4-4. Of course, Chalky's able to grab that storm rifle, which is going to allow him to really watch his own back around the sniper area, which is often very difficult to do. A variety of flank routes do exist, but it's going to be Jimbo with the sniper rifle. So in just a moment, we're going to give you some eyes on that to see exactly if he's yep. And we'll go over to Jimbo now as Chalky's taken down to see what kind of sight lines Jimbo can create here as he's going to try to connect. But keep in mind, his team needs to be set up in a proper position for him to really make this spot count.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like either team has had a chance to really set up. It seems a little bit scrappy, which actually I think would favor Infused. I know they are very well structured as of late, as we saw in the last few weeks of this season, but against a team like Xmen with the amount of experience it has, you just want to kind of not let them kind of sit in their comfort zone. You want to get them out of that and try and get them all around the map.
Oh, the slide!
Unfortunately, the slide comes out perfectly there, and Jimbo can't quite connect, but he does get the no-scope, turns around, can't quite finish off Doodle, goes for the ground pound. Jimbo actually the ground pound king.
He is, and if for those who don't recall, Jimbo globally, shortly after the first few weeks of Halo 5, was actually the leader in ground pound kills in the entirety of Halo 5, which was kind of a surprise to us. We had no idea that he was putting on such a show, but now we'll go over here and switch over to Ramirez now on the X-Men side. They're down 9-12.
And I think it's important to look at Ramirez a lot as well, because a lot of the things that he does is very important for his team. The positioning he takes, he needs to be careful he doesn't lose this battle, but he does actually finally take out Warlord. He's one of these players that will rotate accordingly and make sure he's supporting teammates at all times.
That's right, and Nadie's going to be pushing in on this tunnel as well. He has 3 teammates here. Keep in mind that we also just saw Snipe Drone with that overshield as well, which is going to allow them to possibly gain control here as they try to make this bold Cafe Yard push. But they're pushed back a bit because they lose one player, and of course, whenever they try to do that, they're going to need to reset a bit and be a bit more strategic.
Interesting that Infused they have the lead, but they've had to back off into Yard, and actually they kind of held the fort a little bit well. X-Men tried to push into there, but Infused got a couple of kills when they did do that. Chalky now has the sniper rifle in hands, and I really want to see one of these players go off, because we know they can, but the plasma pistol coming across the map to take him down.
Yeah, it takes him down with ease, so Chalky's going to have to reset along with the remainder of his team, but going over to Warlord now, who's watching that sniper rifle tick down, 1 second left. And as you hear, sniper rifle is up. So Infused now with the lead. Trying to hit a body shot is Warlord, but he's going to be pushed back just a bit. But oh my goodness, and teeing up shots like that is going to make it easy for his team to kind of cycle around the map. But it actually looks like he has something different in mind. Warlord's going to stay at the sniper area. It looks like he may have even juked the opponents. They're not sure exactly where he went with this rifle.
Yeah, Warlord needs to be careful now. He knows there are a couple of enemies around. Hit a fantastic shot actually as a player was stabilizing up there over at Yellow, but he will get the body shot on Ramirez, but Ramirez does have the storm rifle, does eventually take him down. He just needs to be very careful. We will be having word with his teammates, just saying, look, give me backup, you know where I am, and as you can see, teammates just sprinting over to him there.
Oh, what a great job. You saw him, Doodle was the only player at Snipe with Warlord right there, and he's able to stay alive by dropping down and doing a bit of juking now. They'll maintain control as well.
It's actually 2 snipers as well in the hands of Infused, so they could really make this count. I'm not sure how much bullets are in the hands of Batchford as Warlord hits another headshot on Snipe Drone. Fantastic work from him right now. I think Batchford actually only has 1 bullet, so it is just the 1 sniper now from Warlord, but Infused are starting to control this game. They've got a 5-kill lead, and X-Men look like they're starting to struggle a little bit here.
Yeah, I'd love to get a listen-in ready with the Infused side, as like I said, they do have control of the scoreboard, and right now, momentarily, the map as well, but this overshield is going to be a very big factor. I think he even connected with that, but he is going to be down, so let's go see exactly where this overshield ends up, as we'll go now over to Jimbo, who's going to be over here. I'm trying to see exactly where that OS might have gone. I believe it was a Snipe Drone grab, top mid. You see him across your screen. So now here is Snipe Drone trying to push in 21-25. We're going to get that listen-in with Infused in just a moment. You want to head into it?
Yeah, let's head in and see what Infused have got to say on this map.
All right, here we go. Here's the Batchford.
I'm nading it. Let's go, one shot yard and go alert to join me. In yard, guys, in yard. They're pushing yard really hard. Already in yard, yeah. Absolutely in yard. Stuart's going to I'm on loop, I'm probably going to spawn out. I got 1. Nice. Bottom driveway. Is he going to him? He's 1 shot in the soda. Nice try. Shit, guys. 3 dead, nice. 1 sniper. Yeah, I'm getting dying. One's behind Stuart. Yeah, he's in my glass, I think. I can go. I've got SMG. Yeah, he could be LR.
What should we say, like 6:30?
Yeah, 6:20.
What's in dip as well? In dip, guys, in dip. Shit, we have 2 guys in dip. One more, Jimmy.
There's one sort of.
There's two guys in blue. There's two guys in blue now.
Nice, your last guy, the blue. Just run. Nice. Chasing you bottom middle.
Yeah, he's on U-turn right now. One guy's on U-turn. One's in gold ledge, one's in U-turn.
Guys, sniping 30.
Gold ledge, yeah, you sure? Because you guys pick gold ledge for me then.
This guy's solar, choking.
I can nade him. He's down by the silo. He's down by the silo, choking.
Can you guys peek gold ledge?
Hey, one gold ledge too.
I'm watching driveway. I'll push out with you.
He's in goal ledge, wait, give Jimbo weak goal ledge.
Pushing out.
as well.
Come back.
He's in front of LR, Ryan.
Sniping 15.
Ryan got out, right?
One shot yard, man.
Stay alive.
Yeah, stay alive. Let's point to blue.
They're in the yard, man. I need help getting them out.
New sniping 10.
So I'm waiting in flowers right now.
New snipes going. We should play blue ramp.
Yeah, good communication there from Infused. They actually got backed up into yard, and you could see them just kind of saying to each other, look guys, I need help, can you peek this corner, can you peek that corner, snipers coming up. So they know what they need to do, but now Xmen are back into this game.
I was going to say, during that listening, we kind of slowly saw them creep back, and you even saw Warlord unable to finish a few of those kills, which has got to be frustrating for them. So now a much closer game, but here we are, bookending that listen-in, our 2 Infused overshield grabs. Excuse me, I believe Snipe Drone had that last overshield, so these two teams have traded with overshields now. Warlord of Infused trying to make something happen here, but Snipe Drone being very sneaky, sprinting, thrusting, and sliding across the bottom, but we're actually seeing some good signs of life here from Infused as they make the push.
Yeah, good push now with the overshield. Warlord doing great work, just communicating with his team, saying, look, now I'm going to push into yard. If you support me as well, we'll get some important kills. Double kill there from Warlord as well. He's unfortunately out of the overshield now, but he will lay down some shots across the map.
And good shots, good discipline to stay alive just now, watching the back, but watching that hotel spawn, they obviously need to watch for players pushing up towards Snipe, but he's going to make a top mid run now. SMG and light rifle in hand. Lots of opportunities for him to cause damage at a variety of engagement distances here. Is able to stay alive, and like you said, they now have a 6-kill lead. Might turn 2 here if he can. Doesn't finish on Snipe Drone just yet. Yes! And finishes with the light rifle as well, so using 3 different pieces of equipment to eliminate those 2 players there. Now they're up by 9.
And they are the kind of plays that I expect from this man. He loves getting behind a team. He loves being sneaky. Nice use of the grenade there and using the light rifle as well to finish off with a double kill. So fantastic from Warlord. We will move across to Flux, who has the sniper in hand, and they've got a nice cushion here as well, just needing 9 more kills to win this game.
And it's just like you said, Gaskin in that last game, Warlord, the sneaky player to make plays like that, using the splinter grenades, the SMG, and the light rifle to finish those 2 on the flank as he sneaks around the S3 ledge, really doing what he does well. And of course, that's forced Xmen to slow down a bit, unsurprisingly. They're trapped, of course, in the Yard Cafe area, and they're going to need to make sure they don't give up any more free kills, because Team Infused is only 7 kills away from closing out Game 2 and tying up the series. If you're just joining us now, this is the European HCS Pro League Finals. The top 4 teams in Europe here as Flux goes off. Might even take down Jimbo as well, but no, Jimbo finally takes him down with a double as we go over to Jimbo. But thank you so much for joining us here on twitch.tv/Halo as well as facebook.com/Halo.
Nice snapshot there from Flux as well. Good work from Jimbo to take him down finally, and actually it's only a 6-kill game, so if Jimbo can take the sniper and his team can set up around him, there is still potential to get back into this. We saw Warlord just trying to sneak round there as well. Maybe he was thinking there might be an overshield coming up soon, but I think it has already been burnt. But now Jimbo will look across to try and make their way back into this game. Ramirez is kind of caught alone at bottom mid. He needs to be careful.
You have to wonder exactly what route Jimbo's going to take here, because my goodness, is he ever out in the open and far away from Snipe. So obviously he's trying to get creative with his angles here, but a new Snipe is dropping in 10. Going to be interesting to see exactly who grabs that. And you know, looking across the screens, it looks like it might be a chalky grab, but we'll keep an eye on that for you as well.
Yeah, Infused just seem to have backed themselves into a corner a little bit. They're trying to slow this game down. Don't want to give away any kills, but they are giving up the map, and that could be 2 snipers.
And I'm going to show you both snipers now. You have Chalky here, who's sniping right around here, taking a look at that glass angle, and then once again back to Jimbo, who's right here around Priya. So, oh my goodness, and this is what's dangerous. Like you said, you don't want to turtle too much when you have 2 players with snipers peering into these sight lines. If Infused wants to do this well, they need to almost show no angles and wait for the enemy to make a mistake.
Yeah, Infused might just kind of be playing into the hands of Xmen here, just allowing them to push in. What I would really like to see is Infused just kind of bite the bullet and say, look, on 2 minutes, we all push out. We try and get a couple more kills. There's one for Flux off Chalky, important for that.
Oh, he gets 2 actually. Flux gets 2 as we go over now to him, and he's on the push exactly like you had requested, Gaskin, 48-44. And Infused taking advantage of the fact that those snipers may have not been watching the exact sightlines and may have been quite open. He picks up another one. Only 1 more kill. Will he hit the no-scope? Not yet, but he has a little bit of help on Jimbo, who's desperately trying to stay alive. Infused only 1 kill away, and yes, indeed, Infused answers back in game number 2, tying the series 1-1.
What a response from Infused, and just carrying on from their record in Pro League. In Slayer games, their overall was 8-4. That makes them 9-4 now in Slayer. A very solid slaying team. We heard the crowd go wild. I think they want to see Infused win some of these games. We'll take a look at the statistics in a minute and see who were the players that we were watching out for. But I mean, there were some fantastic plays. Most memorable for me was probably Warlord, with that kind of sneaking around, using the grenade, using the light rifle to get the double kill.
Yes, indeed. We'll go ahead and take a look at the stats in just a moment. As you see the kills and deaths across your screen, Warlord with 12 assists, doing quite a nice job. Also Flux there, 17 and 11 from him. On the other side, Chalky putting up quite a show with 15 and 12.
Interesting that at the end of that game they did turtle in, but like I was hoping, they kind of just they waited for the right moment. I think after they noticed that the next sniper had been picked up, they said, look guys, we can't just sit here and just be sitting ducks. And that was when Flux took that time and he just pushed out and got a nice double kill as well, and was rewarded with a sniper to be able to finish the game off accordingly. Great answer back from Infused. They're back in this series. They're answering their critics. They're saying, look, we're not an online team. They've just beaten the Xmen. The Xmen were arguably the team to watch before Pro League started. They have got 4 of the biggest names Europe's ever seen.
That's right. As we're taking a look once again, Warlord, you got to say, with those 12 assists that he had, also going positive, I believe, at 10 and 8. So quite nice work, not only on those flanks. You expect those flankers, of course, to be getting those kills like he did, but also doing quite a job with team shooting.
Yeah, now going into map 3, I believe, is Plaza Stronghold. So Plaza again, records across the board. Xmen have won 3, lost 2. Infused have only won 1 and they have lost 3. Kind of the middle ground for vetoes. Both players seem to have been happy to play. Actually, at the start of the season, we saw a lot of Plaza Strongholds. We saw it in almost every season for the first few weeks, just because it's one of those games where you can be very confident with spawns. You know your setups, and these players are very used to playing it.
Sure, yeah, it's one of your go-to traditional Strongholds game types. It has really become in Halo 5. Yeah, I mean, neither team with a huge advantage here, but of course Xmen, if you look at the stats, with 3 wins and 2 losses over the course of the season, no surprise that they're okay with playing it either. However, you were talking about possibly that this could go the way of Infused if you look at really how the teams play.
I mean, well, looking at that Plaza kind of game in general, I kind of say, look, even if it's Slayer or if it's Objective, it's the same map. It plays a little bit similar, and you will be used to those players just pushing out aggressively, working as pairs. The sniper didn't come into too much of effect for his Xmen that I thought it would. There was a couple of early
when they had,
kills.
Right? I mean, when they were only down, I believe it was 41-46, 2 sniper rifles in hand. They had definitely had a chance to get a few more headshots, but I'm glad to see Infused take advantage of that, because the one thing that Xmen had, of course, and when you have 2 snipers with sniper rifles out watching specific sight lines, you know, they can't really turn like a player with a BR cannon and double team, and if they're missing body shots, it's going to catch up to them, and Infused took advantage of that. They made a great push out of yard. They got straight to snipe and they won the game. So if they can play this game with that same aggression, because you can bet that Xmen is going to have a great setup at least at some point throughout this game, Infused needs to take that same philosophy, pause for a second, and push out together.
So we do have the veto process on screen. So actually, Infused banning Eden, Xmen banning Rig, and then Infused banning Empire. And I'm not entirely surprised that we did end up with Plaza Strongholds. Xmen actually 0 and 3 on the Rig. They vetoed it 56% of the time across the Pro League as well. And looking at Infused as well for Eden and Empire, both really tough records for them. 1 and 2 on Empire, 1 and 0 on Eden. So that they're high percentage vetoes as well. So if I had to have looked at it before, I would have expected this kind of Plaza Strongholds game, because it's just a safe bet for both teams. I think it could go either way. Judging on the performance of the last game, I would hedge my bets on Infused, just because they look like their shot is on a little bit more right now.
Yeah, you know, it's surprising, especially after seeing what Xmen was able to do in game number 1 with their team shot, with their composure. It felt like they really didn't find that groove. You know, especially when Infused started to run away with the lead in that Plaza TS. And of course, Infused on your screen right now, they're going to be looking to put up a very similar performance in game number 3 here in our winners bracket round 1 matchup. Of course, winner of this will advance on through, and the loser will be the second team to drop to the losers bracket.
Yeah, a player I really want to watch in this game as well as Warlord. I just want to see him making a few more of those sneaky plays. They kind of shut him out of game 1, but game 2 is able to get a little bit more freedom. I mean, Plaza, there's a lot more routes you can take.
I was just going to say, it's a great point. Obviously, a map like Plaza is going to lend a lot more to Warlord than Truth, which is a very confined arena space. There are very particular routes you can get away with, where on Plaza you can be very crafty, and we just saw it in that game when he's using the sneaky S3 ledge to get around opponents. Warlord, it's great to see him taking advantage of that. And you know, if you're Xmen, you want to shut that down, because on Strongholds it's even more of a risk. There's even more to worry about when you're playing Stronghold over Slayer. But I think we should go ahead and kick things off here with Warlord.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see this Infused team just pushing around as an absolute wolf pack, just rotating from stronghold to stronghold, where I would be expecting Xmen to try and go for a little bit more of a structured approach. We are now jumping into the game, and we will start things off actually with Warlord.
Here we go now. Warlord looking across, making sure to engage anyone who might be going for that overshield, and I think we might see an early grab, am I right here, through that overshield.
Yep, so now Warlord's just going to actually try and stay alive here. There will be an early take for bottom mid from Xmen, so it's nice to get that bottom mid under control nice and early, because it can be quite difficult to get sometimes. The pulse grenade taking down Warlord there from Jimbo as well. We will see Infused push towards Yard. They need to be careful that they don't actually all spawn there and get stuck in that horrible, horrible spawn trap.
That's right. Of course, Xmen is the first team to put points on the board, as you see. So now Warlord back in this hotel, needs to be careful. Going to likely move up here to the sniper rifle area to try to push in and also get a steal on Nest.
Yeah, and actually Xmen, they noticed that Infused were pushing into Yard, and actually Xmen just all charged into Yard as well and grabbed Yard. Infused now have got bottom mid as well, but Xmen doing very well to just contain anything that comes out of Infused. Infused just seem to be spawning and dying right now. So this is a lot of early pressure. This is similar to Truth. Xmen have just come out of the blocks nice and early.
Yes, indeed. Now Snipe Drone doing a little bit of acrobatic movements here to try to put some pressure on Yard. They do lose that, but of course not to worry, as they're going to continue to put points on the board here. Now about to reach the 20-0 mark with 20-point run.
Yeah, man, Sniper just waiting around. He's doing well actually with the rifle, just kind of waiting. He's just listening to his teammates. We're looking to bottom mid now as well. He does pick up the double. Look for the triple on Batchford. Can't quite finish it off. Had to reload. Teammates come to try and support him, but Batchford finishes him off as well.
And now switch over to Batchford for a second, but unsurprisingly, he is taken down right away. So now over to Jimbo, who's making a Nest push. He's going to get that defense, that reset on that Nest. And now 25-3 is the score, and a killing spree for Jimbo.
Yeah, this is just a solid setup from Xmen here. Infused are trying everything to try and break this wall, but every time they push out, one player from Xmen is just pushing into that Yard, trying to take the Yard off them, just so Infused have to retreat back, and it just restarts that whole process of pushing out of Yard.
Yep, and Xmen, of course, very comfortable now. They're just going to keep this up, and of course, you have to say they certainly have a different look in this mid-game. I think it's an immediate burn from Jimbo. Yes, indeed. That's going to be an overshield burn. So now over to his teammate, Chalky. That next overshield will be dropping right around the 44 mark. But Xmen doing well to control that and deny it from the enemy team. Of course, they won't. Infused won't be able to use that to try to mount a comeback.
Yeah, important that Infused are finally getting some points on the board, but Chalky is still alive here around at Nest. He's just being patient. He's not going to push it anywhere until he realizes where his teammates are. Warlord will get caught off guard, but he does have support, but Chalky gets the important kill. He now can back off, which is very important as well. Yard will be taken, and now I hope Xmen will all push together towards this bottom mid, allow Nest to be taken, just get that bottom mid first, and then they can rotate round to Nest.
It looks like they do get bottom mid. Chalky also has even bigger things in mind. Hopefully he's going to get help on Doodle. He hasn't gotten it just yet, but he looks like, yes, indeed, Jimbo eventually does come. That's going to be total control there for Xmen. So looks like Chalky must have had the confidence that his team had bottom mid covered, because he really focused on Nest there.
Yeah, he knew his teammates were probably going to be spawning there. He probably got word, look, I'm up in 1 second. The likelihood of me spawning there is very likely. So now he is going to move over here, and he is going to take down Batchford, I think, here, if he can use these shots accordingly.
As long as he has some help. He has 2 players weak bottom middle, and the help is not coming. So that's surprising to see right there, right, where we just saw Chalky's able to get 2 players 1 shot in bottom mid, and his team is not able to actually stop and eliminate either of those players. So surprising to see from the Xmen side. However, they get bottom mid right back, and once again they are scoring again with a double from Chalky. 50-17 is the score.
Yeah, Xmen just aren't giving Infused a look in at the moment. No matter where Infused have pushed, Xmen have got someone set up there. Their crossfire is absolutely phenomenal this game, and actually they look like a different side from last game. I know that Infused are very well known for being a Slayer kind of team. They have good record of Slayer in general, but I was expecting a better performance from them. After kind of during the season, we've seen them play this game type over and over again, and they've been very well known to just make it very messy, just rotate together and be able to beat teams just on their individual skill. But Xmen have just shut down any chance of that happening.
Yes, indeed. Now Chalky also making this push once again and continuing to rotate pretty aggressively, I'd say, as he's now moving all the way over to Yard, just in case they might lose another point. They will remain scoring, but also might be a brief total control here, as he's looking around to see if anyone's going to be pushing in. The answer is no. So Xmen once again with total control, and Chalky really doing well to continue that rotation and really just be a pain in the neck for Infused.
Yeah, that's what's really hurt Infused as well. Just every time they pushed out of Yard, one member from Xmen has just pushed in and taken it again, and now they're just kind of wondering, right, where did they spawn? It looks like it's Yard, because now they've taken it as well, and they'll be able to set up accordingly and just stop them pushing out. They only need now 25 more points, sorry. So this is looking good. Doodle does have active camouflage, actually, so they might be able to get something here, but he will get taken down by Jimbo. That's unfortunately. He couldn't really do much with that camo. He had to kind of take the shots there.
Yeah, there's not much you can do, of course, from bottom middle. They finally got a nest here on Infused side, so they might start a little bit of a run here, but would require some near perfect play to quote Onset from the last series in order to come back here. And then just like that, you have Xmen scoring once again. So back on board with Chalky, who's trying to stay alive. He falls though, so now over to his teammate Jimbo, who's going to continue to rack up kills. Another double from Jimbo, and they are just 7 points away from closing this out.
I mean, we've seen comebacks before, but just the setup from Xmen and their shot at the moment is just too strong for Infused. It just seems like Infused are kind of pushing out just willy-nilly now, just getting really doing what they can to just get out and not be in that spawn trap. But just 2 more points needed. Snipe Drone will drop in just to kind of finish off this bottom mid now, and that's going to be game 3 going to Xmen. Hands aloft for Jimbo, saying, look, you can have the Slayers, but we'll have the objectives.
That's exactly it. Xmen looks way too strong, you know, and we actually, I don't really think we saw, if I'm honest, any real of what we saw in game 2. We did not see that mirrored in game number 3, 4 Infused, as they weren't really able to execute it as strongly as they were in that first Slayer. What are you seeing here in the stats?
15 kills from Snipe Drone, doing some absolute work. Jimbo as well, actually, he did a lot of things, but only 4 kills coming out of Ramirez. I mean, I know he is known for being the kind of objective player, but I tell you what, it doesn't matter if you get the W. 4 kills, no kills, they still got the win. They were doing the objective, they're doing everything perfectly. Look at those captures as well from Jimbo. So no matter, even though he had all those kills, he's still running around, he is capturing those strongholds. It was unfortunate from Infused. It just felt like they were on the back foot pretty much the whole game, brother. They were trying to push out, they were trying to rush everywhere, but they were just getting caught off guard by these Xmen boys that were just set up in every single position possible.
That's right. Now, also looking across, looks like it was Batchford who went 10 and 10 on the other side, but like you said, Snipe Drone 15 and 8, a solid performance from him. But these are not normally the stronghold stats that we see, right? Usually a little bit higher in the kills category, because the games usually take a little bit longer, but Xmen made very quick work of Infused there.
Yeah, and I think Infused were they were taking their time a little bit. Like, I know sometimes they were pushing out aggressively from spawn, but I think a few of the players were probably saying, look, let's slow the things down, let's coordinate a push. But when they did slow it down and coordinate a push, they were just getting shut down immediately, and there was probably frustration started to kick in, and then that's when they began to just be pushing out randomly, and they just got punished by Xmen because of it.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it looked a lot different from that composure they had in the end of the Slayer game, where they made really one push, and it was the one push they needed, it counted, and they were able to get out of their base, but that wasn't the case here in game number 3. So Xmen will take a lead in the series, 2-1. However, still smiles and silly faces from Chalky, so you know he's looking forward to the rest of this series.
He is, and actually he was the kind of player that was just punishing Infused, always pushing into that yard, and they just couldn't get rid of him as being a massive nuisance. But looking towards game number 4, we've got Capture the Flag on Fathom. Now this one actually not the best of records for Xmen. They've only won 1 game, they lost 3 across the league, and it's their 2nd most vetoed map. Infused, they're just 1-1, so they've not played it much either. So I think this is a kind of head or tails kind of map. Flip a coin, but looking at the capture flag from game 1, I would say that at the moment I just think Xmen are a stronger team objectively.
Once again, to look back at the Dinosaur series, you know, if a team is decent at your true CTF, there's a chance, as long as they play it in a similar fashion, that they'll also succeed on Fathom.
Yep, so the Stasis veto actually coming out from Infused, which it surprises me. They've got a good record on it. They had only vetoed it 6% previously, so one of the lowest vetoes. They were 2-1. And then Coliseum ban coming out from Xmen, which again actually surprises me, because Infused have never played Coliseum in Pro League. They've just Slayer or CTF. They've never ever played it. Their vetoes are just absolutely huge. However, Xmen's Coliseum flag is 3-1, and they've never vetoed it previously either.
So it doesn't make any sense at all.
So that is crazy, but they must have looked at it, maybe in an offline scrim, in a scrim that wasn't in Pro League, they might have lost to Infused with. That's something that we haven't seen, so that's clearly an interesting veto, and we will end up with Fathom. And actually, I'm happy. I love Fathom Capture the Flag. It's one of my favorite game types, but I do think it's going to be kind of a flip of a coin. I think Infused need to wake up a little bit after that game 3. They looked hot in game 2, but they just looked like they were under too much pressure on that Plaza Strongholds.
Yes, indeed, and of course they're going to need to, you know, not really take a breath here as we head to game number 4. They cannot let Xmen get off to the same start that they did in the Strongholds map, right? They really need to turn this around. They already know what they're up against after that CTF truth, so Infused needs to do a bit of a reset here to get ready for Fathom CTF Hour game number 4. Players are loading in right now.
I think actually I am getting confirmation that Xmen did ban Stasis and Infused banned Collie, which makes a little bit more sense because Infused have always banned Colosseum. Xmen never banned Colosseum, so there is some confirmation there. That makes a little bit more sense to me.
Certainly,
and me as the statistician, I've been thinking, hey, that doesn't make sense. I've been making all these stats.
Numbers don't lie.
Numbers do not lie. Bravo. But yeah, we will be getting into this one very soon. And actually, I think Infused, they need to have a response here. Because I think if they lose this, we might see them heading out 4-1. I think that will give Xmen the confidence booster.
I agree. It'd be very difficult for Infused to climb back after another defeat. However, if they do, of course, tie up the series here, we could be going either way. This, in a very real sense, it could be very similar to yesterday's series where we said, this is kind of a do-or-die mid-series point. This is really where you want to put the win on the board to see exactly what direction the series will take. But here's the series layout so far, if you missed us or if you're just joining us. Xmen takes Truth CTF pretty easily 3-1. Infused, though, answers back with a 50-46 win on Plaza, leading for the majority of that match. And then that last Strongholds Plaza did go to Xmen with a pretty quick win as well. So next game is going to be CTF on Fathom. Now going to be kicking things off here with Batchford on the Infused side.
There's a reason why I want to watch Batchford as well. He self-proclaims the... He calls it the Batchford rifle. That thing that just sits spawn mid, he says, look, that's mine, that is the Batchford rifle. And I do like the swap. It used to be top mid, and now we've got that. We've got the camo there top mid as well. So I think that was a great change when they did make that change earlier in the season. But actually, it looks like we are on board now with Batchford. We'll see where he starts. He hasn't gone for the rifle. He is just going to kind of wait and support his team around the gen and everything.
That's right. Now we're going to take a look and see exactly where that rifle went as well. But actually, I want to go to Warlord because he does have the camo. And if he can stay alive here, he might even be able to get a railgun because he's going to drop down because his teammate just dropped it. That was Flux who dropped it. However, he was able to run it back far enough that Warlord, with the new camo, is going to be able to possibly make plays with this, but he might actually get scooped, so he's going to need to be very careful here. He has a lot of power in his hands. Oh my goodness, look at this. Very patient, not letting that railgun just rip at any time. However, still taking so much damage, so he needs to slow down once again. Enemy's flag is out momentarily, but unsurprisingly, he will just go to the tree and thank the heavens that he still has his life with him.
Yeah, I'm glad he did retreat in the end. He was kind of charging it up, expecting to get a kill. I was thinking it was a little bit risky just standing there in the open charging that, because that would have decreased his camouflage a little bit, but he has got away with his life. He's got the Batchford rifle in hand. He uses it perfectly on Snipe Drone there as well. He can now push into the opposition base. He'll see if anyone's spawned on Gen. He does catch Ramirez, but actually Ramirez using the thrust very efficiently to get out of the way there.
Yeah, I got to go to Ramirez there. Perfectly timed thrust. Of course, it's not easy to time that thrust when there is a player with the railgun, which can hit you so quickly, but Ramirez does it well now with the BR and that railgun as well. I believe that's the last railgun shot, though, so he's going to have to make a push from tree into red, but he's going to need a little bit of help to do that. But his teammate Jimbo falls, so once again, that'll be an Xmen reset. They're going to come back here. Look at this, though. He's got two teammates around him. He's in a good position. They're going to wait for Jimbo to push in and potentially make a second push here.
It does interest me watching Xmen on Fathom capture the flag, especially after they lost 2Foxy. 2Foxy used to kind of be that player that would control spawns. He would call where spawns are going to happen, and he would make sure he was kind of in that gen area to block spawns as well. So now they have lost him. You're going to be looking at players like Ramirez to kind of make that play as well. But Ramirez actually will be taken down, and this is kind of back and forth at the moment.
Yeah, now over to Batchford, but once again on the Infused side, who's actually on the flank. He would have loved to have cleaned up that kill on Snipe Drone, but it's okay because his teammate Flux is going to do just that, and Batchford has other plans anyway, as he also takes down Chalky and tries to get into his enemy's back sub here. Going to try to stay alive, of course, because it's very difficult to win battles from this area, and even if you do, you're still pinned. But of course, Ramirez and Xmen know exactly that they need to eliminate those opponents in the back of their base before they can push out, and they do just that. Snipe Drone, though, on the receiving end of some grenades, so he will fall. Now over to Jimbo.
That does seem to be the general goal for both teams, just to try and get into that gen, to try and block spawns, try and encourage your team to push into the flag. But this is the first flag pull we've actually seen now, but Jimbo is going to be in a position to try and return this. Nice timed nade as well, just to get that player weak. Infused Doodle will be taken down, and so will Flux. Now Jimbo will push him for this return, but he's got to be careful about a player behind him.
Yes, he does. I think he knows, but all that pressure, Jimbo does not hesitate. You got to appreciate right there the direct route straight to the flag return. Had he not gone in there immediately, likely would not have been a return. So Jimbo with some quick decision making.
Yeah, now Chalky is just going to be very patient around here. I like this positioning. That's what I love about the Xmen, is they just know exactly where their teammates are. They communicate accordingly, and they wait, and they're very patient.
That's it now. Chalky, of course, getting the better there of Batchford as well as he turns the second kill in these past few seconds. Wants to keep as much of his shields as he can pushing in, engaging 3 separate players in a span of about 10 seconds, so certainly laying down the fire that his team needs to potentially turn this into a flag run.
Yeah, we're going to be looking for that camo coming up soon as well. And then, of course, Railgun hasn't really come into play as much as we would have thought. We saw Warlord have a little run with it. Ramirez picked up a few bullets as well. But sometimes when you just grab that Railgun and you sit top mid, you can just literally rail on everyone, no pun intended. But Jimbo is actually moving this flag. He is under some heavy fire, and it does look like he will be taken down. Needs to get some support from his teammates quick. Warlord is going to push ahead of the flag to ensure they get this flag returned.
Yeah, probably a good return here, because, a good decision, because he's going to be able to slow down and stay alive here to be a pain. They've killed 2. They're going to try to kill 1 more, of course, but that flag has been tossed in, I believe. We even missed it right there. I believe it was tossed front base there, and I think Warlord himself was surprised as well.
Yeah, he was unfortunate. He just couldn't get that kill on Chalky. If he was able to finish Chalky off, he might have been able to be a little bit more aggressive, maybe jump into that yard, try and stop that flag being pulled, but maybe he was just too certain on trying to stay alive there.
Yeah.
Would have liked to see Warlord get a little bit more aggressive, try his hardest to try and finish off that kill.
Yeah, and Xmen also sending 4 players back, of course. Like, as I say that, Chalky does have the camo, so I want to go on board with him. His flag has just been pulled, so he needs to be very strategic in how he plays this. Kills like that, of course, are going to go a long way, but now Chalky starting that flag run as well. Kind of surprising.
Well, he just saw 3 members go down from Infused, so I'm not entirely surprised they pulled the flag. It does need to be careful. Flux was the last remaining member. Now the rest of Infused will be on spawn, so Xmen will have that word. Ramirez also takes down Doodle. Wow. And now Chalky's there to help his team, so he just chucked that flag. Yep. Now it's 2-0. This is fantastic from Xmen. This is what they do. Their objective teamwork is absolutely fantastic.
That's a great call, Gaskin. I had missed the 2-man advantage there as Chalky saw that on his, certainly at least got the call out or saw it on the kill feed. But my goodness, as Chalky will fall to Doodle, who has also been taken down, though. So instead, we'll go over to Snipetron, who's still top mid. I was saying, though, I did miss that advantage. Of course, Chalky with a very heads-up play to start a camo run. Once you've killed 2, of course, there's a very good chance that you're going to be able to bring that back. So Snipetron will take down Warlord with a quick double melee, and Xmen is not slowing up at all. They're trying to get the same amount of pressure they've had throughout this entire match, and they want to end this one early.
Yeah, they've just got so much pressure on Infused, and you can see now Warlord caught again, trying to flank around. He's on his own. He's not, very rarely is he with a teammate, but he might be able to win this battle. He does actually take down Snipetron, so important kill there. He can now regain his shields, and then he can push around to try and flank again. He needs to communicate with his teammates, though. He needs to be on par with them, because if they know he's flanking, they can push accordingly. Then they can kind of pincer the other team. Railgun will be coming up soon. Doodle knows that, and he will actually find that and be rewarded with his timings.
Oh, yeah, he's going to need to try to stay alive. I think they're going to have no problem killing this kill, getting this kill, and now Railgun in hand as well. He's going to be on the prowl to try to tee up more kills. That's a crafty play there from the other side, though. Of course, his targets are not exactly sitting ducks, as they do not want to get caught by this rail.
So this is a common situation that we saw throughout Pro League of a team being 2-0 up on this game type and then just kind of sitting back and absorbing a little bit of a pressure for a while, rather than going straight away for that third cap. Having a little bit of slaying ability, just kind of demoralizing the team a little bit, and then they just choose a time to push in, maybe wait for a camouflage to come up, wait for a railgun spawn, and that's when they make their move to try and get that 3-0.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that comes from right. There's no, when you're at the 2-0 lead, there's no real reason to risk that significant lead and let the other team get a flag cap as well as control. So what we're seeing here so far is just, I think, some wise, disciplined play. There's no reason for Xmen to force anything here, and now Snipetron still with camo in hand.
Yeah, Snipetron's just going to kind of wait around here. He just spot a wild Doodle just pushing around. We'll throw a nade to let Doodle know that he is there, though, but he knows that the flag has been taken. So Snipetron needs to get in a position here where he can stop this flag efficiently. He does have camo, which is a big advantage. Does use a nice pulse grenade to take down Flux there, but it does look like Doodle came back to find Snipetron in the base, and the flag will be continued to be moved.
And now we'll go back over to Chalky. Let's go ahead and see. I believe that flag is actually going to be returned. Yes. So both flags back at home, and we will stay at 2-0 in favor of Xmen.
Yeah, and Infused, what they need to do now is kind of just push around together. I think they need to keep track of Warlord as well, not let him push around on his own. Flux, again, look, caught on his own. The nades will come in, and Chalky should probably finish this kill unless Flux does anything spectacular. Just a few
see Chalky shaking his head there. He's unsure exactly what Flux is doing, but oh no! Oh my heavens, you see Chalky kind of shaking his head and likely in frustration and confusion, but Flux actually ends up winning that battle quite surprisingly. He was very patient there, but now over to Warlord, who's doing a flag run with the light rifle in hand, and once again, putting the light rifle to use. That's some of the most light rifle play we've seen all day, not only in this game, but also in game 2 to pick up a very clean double. Also a perfect kill there from him, so Warlord showing his expertise here.
And those are the kind of plays that we saw as well from Flux. They're the kind of turning points in games, just being able to put the other team on tilt, just frustrate them a little bit. They are trying to move this flag. They are moving it very slowly, though, as Ramirez will catch Warlord off guard.
I believe it's going to be Doodle here, who's right now with that flag now. And I believe we might have, looks like, yes, both flags away, which why we haven't seen anything just yet. But I got to tell you, I believe we're going to see, we could see the potential for a snipe drone camo rail play in just a moment. So that's what Doodle wants to stop. He has the angle. Yes, they shut it down right away. That was key. And I believe that actually will burn the camo, if I'm not mistaken. But the flag is down now, so we got to go ahead and go over to the Jimbo side. And I believe he's going to bring that in. Yes, indeed. And just like that, Xmen ends the stalemate, and they go up in the game 3-0 with a win. Of course, and they will lead in the series.
And Xmen just playing that perfectly, just slowing it down when they needed to, trying to frustrate their opponents. They let it go to a little standoff, but wow. I mean, this team objectively just looks extremely strong right now. And judging from Fabi's performances earlier on flag, I honestly think Xmen could answer this Fabi lineup. I'm gonna put that out there right now.
Yeah, I mean, what we just saw, I think, was a pretty decisive victory from them, even in those last moments of chaos. Let's take a look at the stats.
20 kills from Snipe Drone as well. And you can see 3 flag captures from Jimbo. I mean, actually, that's fantastic objective work from him. Everyone says Ramirez is the objective guy, but actually Ramirez doing some work himself with 13 kills and 12 assists across the board as well. And on the other side, I mean, 19 kills from Batchford, so he's been doing work all series. Actually, Warlord was only there with 11 kills. It kind of felt similar to Truth, really, to me. Warlord was trying to do too much, trying to flank on his own, but he was getting caught off guard.
That's exactly what it is there. As you see, quite a bit more assists there from the Xmen side as well. So as we look ahead to this next game, it's going to be Slayer on the rig, of course. And which originally had you picked to take this one?
Well, Rig Slayer is kind of uncharted territory, Bravo, because Infused have never played it in Pro League, and it's their second most vetoed map. Xmen have played it once, and they've lost it once. So I think this is what Onset was saying. He was saying, oh, Dan, your statistics are terrible, but the statistics don't lie. Those are the statistics. Right. Neither team have just played this map, so this is, again, it seems like a bit of a coin flip, but last time I said that, Xmen just kind of destroyed Infused on that last map, so...
Yes, indeed. And, but, I mean, like you said, Infused has that Slayer edge, potentially, which is what we could see. Certainly we saw it in Game 2. Even though it was a 50-46 win in the final stats, I think it's certainly safe to say, as we take a look at the kills there as well, you got 20 and 13, like you said, from Snipe Drone. And on the other side, no players, I believe, going positive. Of course, Warlord, the only player to go even there, 11, 11, 11 across the bottom of the board. But the stats certainly in favor of Xmen, the flags as well. And now looking into Team Slayer on the rig, Infused has the potential to answer back, but momentum certainly in favor of Xmen right now.
Yeah, momentum's definitely there. I felt like Infused in that last game, we were just a little bit timid. There was that moment where Warlord was in the base, he had that chance to try and finish off Chalky, and rather than chasing him around that generator, he just kind of waited, and that allowed Xmen to pull that flag and get it chucked into the base to go 1-0 up. So that is a bit of a momentum killer. But going into this Slayer game now, so we need a response from Xmen in terms of Slayer games. But to be fair, Xmen will happily say, okay, you can have the Slayers because we know there's 4 objectives, so that will win us the series regardless.
Right, that's exactly it. Now, Rig TS once again is going to be our next game coming up. Anything surprise you in those vetoes? I mean, especially since we landed on a map that neither team had played too much. Any surprises there?
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised that Coliseum was banned because 42% ban rate from Infused, but actually it was Xmen to ban that one. Yeah, it actually was this time. I can confirm that Xmen did ban Coliseum, so interesting that they didn't want to play that again. It could have been a scrim that they had played previously, but looking across the board for Xmen's record, I mean, Slayers in general, they're 6-6, so the 2 maps they've actually lost on are Rig and Truth. Their good maps have been Eden and Plaza, so they're 2-1 and 1-0, but Regret, they're kind of 2-2, and we will actually see Regret as Game 7 if we do get that far. Both teams kind of confident with that map, very low veto percentages as well, but yeah, generally across the board, I'm kind of a little bit surprised actually that Xmen wanted to play the rig just because they've only played it once. Yeah. I know it's in Pro League, so they would have played it 1,000 times in matchmaking and in scrim, so maybe they are confident. And I can't confirm right now, but maybe that rig game was against the likes of Fabi, where you're just never going to win because Fabi don't lose stronghold games.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, especially as you look at, I mean, even the play style of the players on Xmen, you have to think that they'd be comfortable on a map like Coliseum. We've seen it in the stats that obviously they've had success there. So it is a surprising ban indeed. However, these players are loading in right now. and the picks and bans will no longer be a center of focus, and only what happens over the course of these next 12 minutes in our game number 5.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if some players kind of look at picks and bans like that. I don't even think they think, okay, this team's good at that. I think they focus more on what they're good at, their strengths, rather than other teams' weaknesses. And that's definitely the kind of what I've seen as I've done the veto process across the whole Pro League. Teams would rather play games that they're confident with, regardless with how well the other team is performing. As you can see there, the trophy that these teams are going to be fighting for. We will jump into this game 5 soon. If you are just joining us, it is currently 3-1 to the Xmen. Xmen just performing fantastically at the moment, winning all of the objective games. Infused only winning the Slayer.
That's right. Now Slayer on the rig, 50 kills to win. 12 minutes, but it's unlikely that we'll need all 12 of those here to find out a victor in this game. We're going to be starting things off with Snipe Drone of Xmen.
Yeah, and who better to start things off with? Like we said earlier, this game could go either way. We'd expect Infused to have a good one. Their Slayer games have been good across the season, but Xmen have played this game type, only lost it once throughout Pro League, but they've never won it. So you never know. Let's kick things off now with Snipe Drone. He's probably going to push towards that sniper rifle, as you would expect, but might just put the scatter shot in his back pocket.
That's right. Lots of grenades, of course, coming in. He's going to have to delay. He's going to get the scatter shot, but the one thing he's wondering right now is he's going to be able to grab that camo, but I'm going to instead keep an eye on the rest of the screens, because so far Snipe Drone has certainly been denied of it, but I think Flux is going for the burn. He will get it, but not before getting brained from the other side from Warlord, who picks up a double. We're tied 2-2.
Yeah, Warlord just needs to make sure he stays alive here, communicate with his teammates, but
was that a spawn in the back? I believe we did have 2 players there, so it's going to be Chalky and Jimbo who pushed all the way around the engine and then get into that back area. So Warlord, unfortunately, not able to do anything with that sniper rifle, and Jimbo was actually taken down as well, and the sniper rifle went flying. So I'm going to show you exactly where that landed. Snipe Drone's all the way over here now in Tower 2 with it, and he's going to slowly bring it back. He's going to be able to pick up that kill. That's a good call out, undoubtedly, from a teammate. It might even tee up this. Just barely misses Warlord by a hair, but these two teams still neck and neck, and so far it's been a battle of who can get alive with this sniper rifle and start to establish control, because it's been pretty chaotic in these opening moments.
Yeah, Infused focus now has to be to push aggressive to this sniper, kill Snipe Drone. That's fantastic, because if they had allowed him to set up, things could have started to get ugly. They have a 3-kill lead now. Now Warlord has the chance to set up. He needs to communicate with his teammates. So look, I've got the sniper rifle. Let's get into a position now where we can really take advantage of it.
That's right. Going to go to observer mode now. Going to show you ahead exactly where those opponents are, as well as info about all the players in the match, their primary weapon, their grenades, as well as their shields, and even how long their respawn time is. So we're going to stay on this as long as Warlord is alive. Finally, they've established a bit of control, but to tell you exactly how that broke down, 3 players did die on the Xmen side, which gave them just a little bit of breathing room on the Infused side. The Snipe Drone goes for the ground pound, does not get it though, but several players coming in, the double ground pound from Xmen, and it's actually going to be Jimbo who comes away with the sniper rifle in the end, tees up the ground pound as well as the lead. But I tell you what, man, I've never seen a team fly at an opponent like that in the back SMG with a double ground pound. They're doing it with style.
I mean, if you've got the ground pound king yourself on your team, he's going to be saying, look, let's just line up these ground pounds, as he does get a nice sniper shot there on Flux. And this is the position that you want to be in if you are the Xmen. They did well. They know the sniper was in the hands of Warlord. They were patient with the play. They pushed round to engine rather than in positions where they could have been spotted by the sniper. Jeez. Gets another headshot. That's the second time Flux has been caught off guard.
I believe, yeah, Flux was the one who died at Nest as well, right? I mean, that's a lack of discipline. There's no reason for him to be caught at essentially the same angle, just different elevations like that. He needs to make sure he's not getting picked by that. He needs to know Jimbo is still on this area of the map. There's a potential that he thought he rotated back here to bunker, but regardless, you cannot be giving up those free kills. So 15-12 is the score here. Jimbo still with sniper rifle in hand.
Yeah, 2 bullets left as well. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets in a position just to watch this new sniper. Flux again getting caught off guard by this sniper, and actually Jimbo using the battle rifle effectively to get the double kill. He can now use this last bullet just to make sure no one picks up that other sniper from the other team.
I have to say, it was just an 11-10 game. Flux dies 3 times, and now it's a 4-kill game, right? There's absolutely no reason. Oh, look at them. I mean, Batchford just being quite calm there, as he actually is going to fall off because he couldn't stay on the map. But I think sniper rifle went to the hands of Snipe Drone. But if you ask me, the difference maker in the last 2 minutes was 3 deaths from Flux. It's now a 5-kill game 3 of the times he pushed.
There's just pushing the same position every time, and I don't know if he was just thinking, oh, well, he's not going to be looking there again. He's gonna
There's no way he's looking here a third time.
He's not going to do it a third time, but no, he does get caught off guard, and actually that probably is the big game changer. Snipe Drone does now have the sniper in hand with a 5-kill lead, taking a little bit more of a different angle with the sniper. Maybe he wants to be a little bit more unpredictable to try and catch players out. He does tag Warlord on the shoulder, but won't get the kill. Will probably communicate to his teammates to try and clear that one up for him.
That's right, going to go ahead and get observer mode ready for Snipe Drone as well. Here you go, take a look at exactly where his opponents are. You can see those through the outlines, as well as take a look, for example, Ramirez 1 down and also Warlord on each side for each team. But Snipe Drone also connecting, might try to tee up a shot. Does a quick YY that probably didn't help him out, and Batchford is going to be the player that comes away with the sniper rifle. Still a close game here, though, Gaskin. 18-22, they're only down by 3.
Yeah, what Infused have been doing well is just shutting down Snipe Drone. I think that's probably one of their keys to victory throughout this game, is not allowing to go off with that sniper. They've been very clear. They've been communicating where his position is, and you saw Batchford just pushing in with the assault rifle to clear him up, as now he actually gets the kill on Chalky, and it's now Batchford's time to shine. He's got a lot of sniper bullets to play with, still in a bit of an unorthodox position, needs to try and get in a better one with his team.
Yeah, surprised that he just decides to drop here to the stairs, but obviously trying to make his way eventually towards tower, and no scopes like that are going to make it easy. He wanted to get that grenade a little bit further to try to equip a player on the corner, but regardless, they are sitting pretty here. A nice shot through the very small crack. 24-25. It's a 1-kill game, and you know, this really is a moment where he does have the game in his hands. He can really turn this around and keep them in this if he's able to continue connecting on these shots.
And because he's only got 3 bullets in the sniper as well, he can be slightly more aggressive with the sniper, knowing that if he does die, he won't be giving away too much to the other team. So I like the positioning from him here. He's just trying to find a few more angles, trying to catch these players off guard, trying to get in a position where they won't expect. He does see Ramirez sneaking around, gets the double no-scope, and he will be taken down by Snipe Drone. Almost perfection there from Batchford.
I got to go to Jimbo, though. We're going to go on and throw an observer once again, because he is sneaking around with the camo, and the play he makes here certainly will be pivotal. We're just over halfway through this game here, as they do have 29-25, and a series of good exchanges from the X-Men side have given them a little bit of a lead, as they were only up by 1 less than 45 seconds ago.
Yeah, and now this camo is very important, actually. Jimbo needs to be careful. He would have been spotted, and he needs to just push around with his teammates accordingly. Try and get a flank behind. Warlord needs to be careful not to be caught out as well, but it does look like these Infused players know the camo is around. They're just kind of on the back foot now, and here comes Doodle to try and finish off this camo. Very important kill. Massive from Doodle there.
Yeah, what a play. Doodle will fall, though, so we'll go ahead now over to Ramirez, who falls as well. So over to Warlord, who is still in the thick of it, and it's a 3-kill game. You were talking about it, Gaskin. What a great job from Infused to stop that camo push. Warlord made a ballsy play there, and eventually Doodle's the one to finish, but they stay in this. I mean, had Jimbo picked up 2 or 3 kills from that rush, it'd be a very different scoreline.
Yep, new sniper is there on spawn. No players going for it just yet. It does look like Doodle might have it in his hands. Yep, so we'll switch across to him and see what he can do with the sniper rifle. We've not seen him have it yet. Just trying to take an angle into Engine here, see if he can catch anything, but Snipe Drone still has a couple of bullets left in his as he takes down Batchford now. Infused, I really want to see them make them move over towards Engine, try and set up there, because Doodle might get caught off guard. Yes, he does. He's going to get taken down.
Just as you said, it was Jimbo and a Ramirez push. I believe Jimbo gets that perfect. He's going to try to also finish this kill as well, but decides to bail out and might even steal the sniper rifle. Hopefully the fire extinguisher gives him the needed cover. And yes, indeed, he's safe for a brief moment, but is going to try to stay alive, and plenty of help comes from teammate. He eventually will fall, as it was Doodle who wanted to come back and get his sniper rifle. This is still a close game, only 3 kills separating the 2 squads.
Yeah, I'm not entirely surprised. We knew this one was going to be close. We knew how well Infused play on these Slayers, but I mean, Doodle needs to make sure Snipe Drone dies. He needs to tell his teammates where Snipe Drone is. Snipe Drone does miss the shot, though, and now I just want to see some flanks coming around from the rest of the Infused team.
And I got to tell you, speaking of flanks, here's Warlord with the camo. Actually, he has certainly an opportunity to get control of the map with his team, and he needs to move quickly, and he's hoping that a few more players might even spawn back Carbine, but immediately diverts his attention, thinking they may not. But now we're tied, 36-36, camo in hand.
Yeah, Warlord just has such a chance to... He has the game in his hands now. He can really maybe pick out a double or a triple kill that could change everything. Just staring at Snipe Drone, a little bit reluctant to shoot, and he'll be punished for just that little split second of indecisiveness. We'll get the shots over on Jimbo, though, so important kind of shots there from Warlord. They do take the lead. They're up by 1. Now they've got a sniper as well as a nice little Christmas present there for Warlord on the floor. They just need to get in a position where they can use this effectively.
That's exactly it. Look at this. I mean, Warlord putting that camo to use. That's exactly what we needed to see from him. Right now, it looks like he's kind of trying to figure out exactly which angle he might want to shoot from. He's going to engage a player, but look at this now, 41-39. desperately trying to figure out exactly where he needs to look, but I think he's finally getting comfortable.
Yeah, we've not seen the plasma caster being used too much, but I think Batchford has finally picked it up, and he's going to try and use it effectively. But Warlord just getting in these unorthodox positions again because he knows that all of these X-Men players are over by Engine. He's trying to put shots down. He managed to get a couple of body shots, but really we haven't seen either team be able to set up properly with this sniper.
You could tell he was never, he was never in the situation in the exact spot that he wanted to be. Right, he constantly was looking at almost 180-degree angle, and whenever you see a sniper like that, look at this, and now Chalky's going to make them pay. Whenever you see a sniper looking at that much angle, that many sightlines, you can tell they're not in the exact setup that they want to be. But Chalky here is, of course, going to sit comfortable with the SMG. He's also got Ramirez here with the scatter shot, so they're going to control this back area as the enemy team is going to have control of Engine here. But look at this now, 42-44, as actually 2 players will die, so a 2-kill lead for Infused.
This game just feels like it's been flipped on its head so much. Like, the sniper control has been over here at Carbine for the majority of the game. They're 3 kills behind now, X-Men actually. Infused only 4 kills from winning this one, and actually Chalky's now out of ammo as well, and there is another sniper on the map, but I'm not sure who picked that one up, rather.
Well, that's Flux with the camo. We'll see if he can stay alive here. Actually, Flux will die, though, so we'll stay very close here. Flux had the chance, potentially, to win that game. However, it will stay within 2, 44-46.
Yeah, now Chalky just needs to be supporting his teammates here. He can see that Jimbo and Sniper are in there having a battle, just a 1-kill game now. They need to be careful of where that sniper is, though. I'm sure it was picked up. Maybe it got thrown off the map, and I just want to see this X-Men lineup just kind of stick together and not give away any silly kills as I say that. Jimbo is caught off guard. Warlord will push him with the sniper. There's the sniper rifle in hand, and Chalky needs to communicate that to his teammates very soon.
Oh my god, like you said, I mean, this is an incredibly fast-paced ending to this game now. 48-46 on board of the Warlord, who does have some shots left in the sniper rifle, and for a moment, it looked like Infused was about to lose that lead, but now they're 49-46, only 1 kill away, and yes, Infused answers back despite letting up a few too many kills towards the end of the match. They win 50-46 in the end, and what a back-and-forth ending.
Well, we said it could have gone either way, and we did say before that Infused do have a good record on Slayers. I mean, clearly they're so much better as a team when it does come to these Slayer game types. Yeah. It's unfortunate that there are more objectives, because going into the next map of Eden, I mean, it will be a tough one because it is an objective game. Let's see if we can take a look at these statistics. 19 kills coming on the board for Batchford. Actually, I think every game he's been putting up statistics like that, win or lose. So he's really been my standout performer for Infused. Just the 9 kills coming out of Ramirez, but 13 for Jimbo. That's the kind of main statistics that I take from that X-Men squad. 8 assists, though, from Jimbo as well. And generally across the board, assists look to be better from Infused rather than X-Men. And I think that's been kind of a common theme throughout all these games. The winning team has had a lot more assists, not just because of the amount of kills. We've had some games where the kills have been relatively similar, but just the teamwork has been on point in these wins.
Yes, indeed. Also 10 assists from Doodle there in the game as well. I have to say, what a back and forth we had at the end of the game. For a moment, it looked like it was going to be all Infused. Then, I mean, the way that Xmen was able to shut them down, really tie the game right around the 44-46 mark, and then all of a sudden, you saw that Xmen was able to get 2 key kills, and it felt like, Infused was able to get 2 key kills, and it felt like at several moments towards the end of the game, Xmen actually gave up 1 to 2 deaths at times when they really didn't need to. We saw a great camo push from Infused at the end that actually looked like it was going to be completely neutralized, and maybe the game was going to turn, but I gotta give credit to Warlord for holding control of that sniper and the scatter shot at the end. Chalky was unable to shut him down, and this is the second Slayer that Infused has won 50-46 in this series, so these games have been quite close.
I've got to give credit to Warlord for the aggression, just having that sniper in the hand and just having the kind of the courage to push around that carbine area. Yes, okay, he had a scatter shot in his back pocket just to kind of back him up if he wanted to, but yeah, credit to this man. He's been performing well this series, actually. He's been doing his flanks, he's been doing his thing, but now we go into Game 6, which is Strongholds Eden. Now, both teams just with a 1-0 record across Pro League. It's 25% veto for both of them as well, so it's a very even matchup, as statistics would say. We'll have a look and see which maps they banned out, but I believe Xmen actually banned Rig and Infused banned Empire, which has kind of been a common theme across this season. I believe Infused have banned Empire 44% of the time, so that's one of their worst game types. And actually, the Rig, I think Xmen is 0 and 3, so I was entirely expecting that to be banned. A 56% ban ratio for them as well. So kind of getting rid of their bad maps and just leaving them with an okay-ish map.
That's right. The players are now loading into this next game, Strongholds on Eden. I have to say, we heard the analysts talk about it before the series. If Infused can play with that aggression and speed that we know they're capable of, I think they have a chance to take down Xmen, but so far, on the objective composure and control front, Xmen has certainly led on that front.
Well, I think that there's a lot more room on, for example, Strongholds Plaza to set up. I think Eden can be a little bit more random across the board, and it will allow those Infused players to kind of push out, be aggressive, rotate as a team. So Xmen need to be a little bit careful. I really think that whoever comes out of the blocks early gets that first kind of total control will probably win the game, because it can be difficult to get back into it when you're trying to get one of those strongholds.
Yeah, one thing I'm going to be looking for, you might remember it if you had joined us for game number 3, is the way that Chalky was kind of solo rotating, right? He goes and steals Nest, he goes through Hotel, and then also makes his way all the way to Yard, and it feels like he was a one-man rotation. Granted, his team was certainly doing things that allowed him to move in such a way, but that's possible on Eden too, right? I mean, you can be sneaky, you can get to the back of the bases, right? You can take certain routes that will allow you to get those resets and those steals, and I'm going to be looking for Chalky to do the same thing here.
And honestly, that was the kind of playstyle that 2Foxy had on Xmen, so it seems like Chalky has taken that role off of him, and it seems to be working out quite well, actually. It's kind of a different Chalky that we've seen. I mean, across the years, Chalky has been one of the players that's been known throughout America and Europe as a big sniper, a big slayer, but actually it might have benefited Xmen that he's kind of taken on this more of like objective kind of flanking-based role.
It's good to see him certainly succeeding in that as well. Even in the States, I'd say he's known as a sniper due to everything he started in H2A and has continued in H5, but certainly good to see him filling in well. And right now it's paying off because they do have a lead in this series here. They're looking, of course, to close it out now with a 3-2 lead. If they win this game, they will advance in the winner's bracket. However, if Infused is able to win and force a game number 7, keep in mind that'll be a Slayer on Regret. So very real scenario that Infused could win this series if they're able to take this one.
And I think that's going to be the worry for Xmen as well. They'd be thinking, look, game 7 is a Slayer. We've lost both Slayers. We need to make sure we win this. They should be confident because it is objective. We do see a couple of hand slaps, fist bumps coming around. Xmen trying to hype themselves up. This is their chance. They can move forward in the winner's bracket if they do win this game on Strongholds Eden.
Let's go ahead and kick things off here with Chalky himself, the man who proved to be quite a force in our game number 3 on Strongholds on Plaza. We'll have to see if he can put up the same exact show in game number 5 here as Chalky and crew now pushing out. I want to get this early control. Of course, all eyes on Camo here in the beginning now in its new place in Tower.
That's a pattern as well. Just kind of passive play from Xmen, just waiting for one of the opposition to push towards one of those power-ups and then pushing in. We saw it on Truth as well. They were rewarded with the camo. Ramirez has the camo. He will grab Catwalk, and now he can push and try and be a nuisance. Red Nest is taken by Infused, so we will now have the battle at Blue Bend.
That's exactly it. Now that's going up, and I believe that's going to be an early grab for Infused, but they have to be careful because sometimes when we see if... Oh my, back whack. Excellent play there from Ramirez to steal the Spanker rockets. Now going to throw down another rocket, get damage, and it looks like they're going to try to set up for this total control. They've already grabbed the Blue Band, but of course, much more important for Ramirez to stay alive with this rocket BR camo combo.
And that just shows what an important opener it was from Xmen. They were like, yeah, okay, they can have 2 strongholds, but we're going to make sure we get the camo because then Ramirez can make plays like that, get the rockets. He has whiffed a couple of rockets, but I think the important thing was that the rockets aren't in the hands of Infused. He does finally get a kill, but he is taken down. 1 rocket left in that chamber, so someone will be rewarded when they do push over to Catwalk.
Jimbo coming around the corner, spraying, thinking. I think he actually did lose track of Warlord there, as Warlord is able to be quite sneaky and get away from Jimbo, and he'll actually get away with his life there, but not a worry for Jimbo as he still does have control of this area here in the turbine, and also, of course, the scoreboard now at 13-6. So right now we're in a moment where we're going to see the teams kind of slow down, they get a feel for everything, and ideally Infused is going to be trying to get control back once again. However, it's Chalky now who's going to push out. He just dropped that empty rocket for a BR, so he's going to be pushing his way towards top mid.
Yeah, and what I've noticed, the main difference between these two teams is Xmen are more than happy to be spread out from each other, but just cover each other from long angles, whereas Infused like to push more in groups. As we can see now, they're trying to push into this red base. Flux will be caught off guard though, and as Jimbo can now single him out if he pushes around that corner as well. But Xmen looking very strong and objective yet again. Infused need to be careful they don't get sucked into this just constant die, respawn, push, die, respawn, push.
Certainly, it looks far too similar, you know, from what we saw in the Strongholds on Plaza, right? It's a very early lead for Xmen, and they're not showing any signs of letting up as they do get total control as well now, 35-6, and that score will continue to increase at quite a quick rate. On the other side, just to give you an idea of what's going on over there, I'll go to show you Ramirez, who once again has rockets and overshield. So he has been a power-up, power weapon king in this map. as he is blazing a trail across and now finding another opponent. Looks like all players of Infused were trying to push out, and looks like Ramirez just flanks around and picks them off one by one.
And this is what you get for doing the dirty work, for doing the things that sometimes players wouldn't necessarily want to, by timing the weapons, by being in the right places. You get overshields, you get rockets, and then he's rewarded with statistics because of that. And that's why Ramirez is such a fantastic player, and why he was a great addition to the Xmen. And Xmen can kind of just taste the blood here. They are not letting up whatsoever. Doodle will take this blue bend, but Xmen will still be scoring, as they do have 2 strongholds.
Yeah, and it might be short-lived here. We'll go over to Flux, who's also trying to make something happen in Catwalk. That momentary second in that hill is not obviously going to put points on the board for them, and they're already losing blue bend, so Flux desperately trying to reset the only thing they have, and looks like they do get the defense, so means they might be able to hold on for a little bit longer, but they're going to have to really slow this down and get control of either Nest or Cat to have any chance of winning this game.
Yeah, but very similar to Plaza, that they had 1 stronghold, so 1 member of Xmen just pushed on their own just to make the Infused members rotate back to it, and then their push is completely reset. We only need 20 more points now for the Xmen. Finally, some points are going on the board for Infused, but Jimbo is there to answer everything, and he'll be taking Red Nest. Just needs to be careful from grenades flying in.
That's exactly it. I was going to say, it looks like they sacrificed far too much to get that nest, and then take a look. That actually is the case. It's total control once again at the 83 mark. It's not looking good for Infused. It feels like they have to work far too hard.
Yeah, well, we will jump over actually to Snipe Drone and see what he's doing at the moment. As Chalky takes down Batchford with the rockets, the double kill as well. We'll move across to Chalky because he has got the overshield and the rockets in his back pocket.
That's the 3rd time in this game we've seen him with a power-up and the rockets, whether it be the overshield or the camo. He's on a killing spree. He's having quite a game. You hear Chalky chants from the crowd, smile on his face for the fans. It's 94-9 in favor of Xmen.
Yeah, just 5 points needed now, and they will move on into the winners bracket final to face off against their arch enemies, Fab E. Just the 1 point needed now. This should just be a walkover, as Chalky is just going to wait in Catwalk. That will be it. Xmen move on. Infused are going down to the losers bracket.
I tell you what, Infused, of course, put up a respectable fight, with the exception, I say, of the stronghold matches. They had quite a performance, but yes, indeed, Xmen are our victors in our 2nd winners bracket round 1 match, and they will advance, while the Infused gentlemen will have to face their opponents in the losers bracket. Go ahead and take a look now at the stats.
Yeah, I'm not sure who had a better game there, Ramirez or Chalky. Both of them seem to have kind of a power-up and a power weapon in their hands at all time. I mean, we can see the strongholds captured. We can't actually see the kills because players are up and shaking their hands. There we go. So 15 kills there from Chalky. There was a little bit of a cheer. I'm not sure what that was from the crowd. But,
I think it's when you
it's because of a goose there from Warlord. 0 kills, goosing on LAN. He's gonna be living that one down probably for the rest of his life.
That's indeed what the cheers would be for, or perhaps, I guess, just the explosion of emotion. Not good numbers there. But on the other side, it's 15-2 from Chalky. Ramirez goes 10-6 as well. Quite positive numbers there on the side of the Xmen, and it's not a surprise whatsoever, as Chalky now joining Matt in just a bit. We'll talk to him, I'm sure, in a moment. But from that series, I think that's kind of the way, Dan, you had expressed to me that you expected it to go, right? We would go 6 games and it would go to Xmen.
I think I said 4-2 to you before, didn't I?
You actually picked the games, I think, perfectly and exactly. With the exception, of Strongholds Plaza.
It was, yeah, that was the only one different. I did say it would go to Eden, though. But, I mean, the Slayers were they were too good from Infused, but unfortunately their objective games weren't good enough. Goose coming out of Warlord at the end there, so I'm sure the analysis desk will have fun picking that one apart, as I certainly would if I was over there. But I'm sure I'll go have a little chat with him later and say, hey, how does it feel to goose on LAN?
It's not like anyone's watching.
He's joining the leaderboards of players like AZ, who also goosed on LAN.
It's not like the games are recorded or streamed.
No, it's fine. He won't have to watch it again multiple times as his team kind of discover what went wrong in that game.
Right, no, not at all. No. Yeah. All right, sounds like we are ready on the floor. Matt has Chalky. Hey, Matt, down to you.
Thanks very much, bravo. Yes, Chalky, our MVP of the series, and I know you're going to say it's a team effort, and we know Halo is a team game, but we can have an MVP as well, and that's you. Good work across that series. You happy with your performance?
We're still kind of warming up. We didn't play anywhere near where we want to play, but we did lose the games that we thought we'd lose, and that was Slayers.
You mean the ones you thought you'd lose when the vetoes were going in, or at that stage, or during those games? When did you think these ones are slipping away from you?
Well, in fairness, like every event I've pretty much attended, Slayers has always been my weakness. Objective, we've normally just kind of locked down. We crushed them in every single objective. In Slayer, we kind of slugged it out and just didn't perform as well as we should have.
So that's something you're aware of. Are you speaking for the whole team there, or just yourself, do you think?
I think we can all collectively say that we didn't do what we wanted to do. We were a lot more cautious than we want to be. Played a lot slower, but that's something we can work on. We've got time to do so.
First game of the day, first series of the day for yourselves as well. The guys have all been warming up for ages and ages, but it's a huge finals day here at ESL Studio One. So that's done. That puts you through to the next stage. You're going to be playing Fab E next. How's that looking for you, do you think?
Well, I'm pretty sure everyone who knows European Halo, that's the series everyone wants to watch. We're looking forward to it, they're looking forward to it, and we can't wait to beat them.
Yeah, that's what we want to see. We want to see a great big match between you guys, and Infused will be seeing them next against Vibe in our losers bracket. Loser of that game is going to be 4th in our finals. That's it, they're done. So that's how that will be turning out soon, but we'll be seeing you in a little while as well. So congratulations again. You're MVP of that series. Good start for you guys. Yes, indeed. Xmen turning up at LAN. Well done, man. Go back with you guys. Awkward handshake, awkward handshake. Xmen here then. Let's see how that works out in our winners bracket. But we're bringing you the losers bracket. But before we bring you all of that, how did this go down? Let's go up to the desk with Brycey and the boys, and we'll find out what they think of how that series worked out.
Thank you very much. Well, it worked out more or less how we thought it would go down, but you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with us predicting right for something for a change.
I mean, as analysts, we pretty much nailed that one. We got it. We said it would go deep into the series, and yeah, I mean, we've set the precedent. We've done well.
Finally. I think it's just because I've replaced the people who were here before. I mean, not all of them, just one. So it's Gaskin's fault.
Don't worry, I'll be gone soon. Don't worry.
All right, well, let's get your first initial impressions from that one. And like I said, I think it was pretty much what we were expecting, but there were a few flashy plays coming in from Infused that could have turned the tide.
I mean, credit where credit is due. The match pack was real. Everyone was kind of wondering and questioning. We've seen him at his first event, a little bit shaky here and there. We've seen what he can kind of produce online. It's fair to say he's been getting a bit of stick for being a bit of an online warrior. A few people giving him a bit of jip here and there with his Highlands connection.
It's completely fair, but you always find with these new players that break through, they are always labelled as online warriors. You look back and you look at the likes of Chalky, warrior, not very good. You'll get to land, but there's a reason that they're there, and there's a reason they're performing online. It's because they're bloody good players, and it's as simple as that. And Badgeford, I'm really pleased for him to stand out in that series and put in some really big performances because. It'll set them apart now.
That's how you stamp it. That's how you stamp yourself on European and say, we're here, this is me, I'm here to play at this top end level, and he nailed it.
I think it's good as well. I mean, it was pointed out there, their slaying game. It is good. It's certainly a foundation they can build something on as well, I think for them, you know what, keep those solid, keep doing what you're doing with them, and then maybe they've really got to work on that objective. Start grinding it out, start really figuring out where they're going wrong, because clearly they can slay, right? They know how to trade, they know how to control the power-ups correctly. But what they're not doing is they're not working the objectives the way they should be, and that seems to be a little bit of a flaw in their entire roundness. They're just not a round team. They're a very one-directional team.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I think you've got to give massive credit to the team they're playing against as well. Yeah. You know, the players in that Xmen, they have played so many objective game types through the years. They know every single nook and cranny of any objective game mode, whether it's capture the flag, whether it's strongholds, whether we're going back to old games of Kings of the Hill, etc. I mean, they showed every single thing you had to do, and in that last game, we saw pretty much perfect objective play from them.
Can I ask also, Mark?
Go on.
What else did we see in that last game? Did we specifically see?
I can't remember exactly what it was, but
I'm just admiring the drawing. That's fantastic.
I even signed it.
That's what I'm laughing at.
Why have you signed it?
Follow me on Twitter for a giveaway.
This is now worth something. This is definitely worth something now. It's probably worth more than Onset actually is himself. To be perfectly honest, but I'm going to give you this wonderful thing back. You win this. This is now winnable, I think.
Yeah, we can give that away. Tweet using the hashtag HCS, and we'll see if we can get that out to you.
It's the beard. It's just the beard.
All right. Anyway, I'm going to put that there for a second. You can safe keep that. We're also live on Facebook.
Yes.
We are live on Facebook. Hello, if you're watching through Facebook. How are you doing? Welcome to us. We're going to be kind of live, and you can also watch us on Twitch because we're going to be live on Twitch all day long. Lots of games still to come, so if you're on Facebook, hello. Come join us on Twitch as well. We'd love to have you. All right, well, now we've had enough of pretty drawings and throws out to the Facebook crowd. Let's break into map number 1. Now, this did go fairly well, I think, for both teams to kick it off with. There's nothing too much, and still they're kind of both just settling into the series.
Yeah, I mean, Xmen came out of the gates pretty hot. I mean, by the time that we'd left the desk and we got in front of a screen, it was 2-0. I mean, it was they come out of the traps and they really asserted their objective dominance again. And I think maybe Infused, it was one of those, their first series, you know, it's their first big series when they're here. You know, there might have been some nerves early on in the game, but as the game went on, they started to settle in. They got that second flag cap back. But Xmen managed to close it out, and again, that's just an experience thing from my point of view. If you get to a live event, as soon as you get into your first game, you need to be hot and you need to be right on it. And I don't think Infused were quite sort of up to the challenge in those first sort of 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, we're more so of a warming up kind of stance, and as you says, again, I believe this is the one where Badgeford dropped a nice big fat 21. He was kind of carrying his team to victory, but again, it wasn't. I don't want to say they got massively outstayed on this one. It seemed pretty, you know, neck to neck, and this heads up play here from Chalky, he almost, if he would have been continuing, the Nova game was over at that point, but he could have actually gone for the triple. It's little things like that when in certain situations that team, and during that first game, you can actually see them. This is the veteran players coming out. This is those players which kind of, you know, years of experience versus not so many years of experience, so to speak, of a better word.
Especially that play at the end from Chalky. You see some more inexperienced player. He sees the flag out. He thinks, I need to return that flag. Chalky took a different route, picked up his kills, he took his time, got them 3 dead, and then his teammates came off respawn, and he got the return.
Well, again, I mean, our analysts at the beginning, we got these maps the wrong way around a little bit. We were thinking Infused were going to take the first map. We didn't. Xmen did. But as we move on to map 2, other way around again. Infused started to come back in. We were wondering, you know, we said it might go 2-2. It didn't end up going that way. But let's talk about map 2 and why that wasn't the way we thought it was going to go.
It really was fantastic to just see Infused come out the gates pretty strong and, you know, controlling all the areas of the map that they really should have been doing, especially when it came to sniper control. They managed to lock it down and lock it down hard. At one point, I believe there were 2 snipers in play for Team Infused, and it really kind of escalated them to the lead. They had a lot of, we definitely saw Snipe Drone and Jimbo getting a little bit of the camo control, the overshield control, but generally speaking, most of the power weapons in the hands of Team Infused. But we did kind of say that the stats have shown this. They know how to play Slayers, and maybe that kind of comes into when you look at the teams being separated by what separates them. It's the fact that the experience of Xmen keeps them together in this objective efficiency. The teamwork is there, the knowledge is there, but Slayer will let this team shine because they've all got a really cracking good shot on them. And this shows in the Slayers that they can run around, they can run and gun, and they get the job done.
And one player we need to get a little bit of love for, if we could see in the replays at the end there, Flux went off at the end of that game. Massive shout out to Hamza, hit some crazy shots and was just in great positions and winning so many 1v1 battles. And that when you've got a player on your team who could do that as a sort of young team playing against those experienced players, it just spreads a little bit of belief through your squad. So props to Hamza, props to Flux, incredible performance from him in that game.
I think Warlord did quite well when I saw him. Didn't put out the biggest numbers, but some of the things he did do were quite spectacular. I think really did have quite a good game in terms of it. I think he was more consistent than anything else.
He's a nuisance. We even said
exactly,
he's a proper nuisance, and he's a pain in the backside to kill. His map movement's pretty good, and he'll always just run away. He'll pokey and run away. He's a very pokey player, and he's not passive. He's more passive aggressive. So he'll happily jump into a gunfight, but if he knows he's going to lose it, he won't challenge it. He'll back off, but he'll just call it out to let someone else to come and pick up the kill.
Yeah, if you've got a player on the map that you know you have to kill, there was a point where we were watching it was like, this is the exact point where we went, God, Warlord's annoying. He was down at the bottom of the snipe lift. He put a couple of shots on players, and there was 3 players above him from the Xmen trying to kill him because they knew they had to kill him. By that time, all his teammates were in position to basically look at Warlord, use him as a target, and basically shoot everyone who came towards him.
Yeah, I think so. And for me, it definitely seemed like they were in control for a good point. They looked quite comfortable on it, which I thought was nice. It did seem like, even though there were a few times you're like, oh, they're going to lose this here. No, actually, for me, it seemed more like Xmen were having a little bit more flustered than I was expecting them to see. And that's allowed them to just kind of round that one out. But let's move on to map number 3 now. And again, this map for me, it's kind of the tale of the series. You think that both these two teams, they are fairly close, but one is clearly better than the other.
Yeah, I think, again, Chalky just stood out for me on this game. The amount of times that we saw him just putting 2-3 shots on players, leaving the weak, or finding himself in a position where he could clean up kills, that is just perfect positioning as a player. It's such an underrated thing as a player. We always look at people's shots, we always look at people getting those big wins in the 1v1 battles, but his map position always allows him to do the most damage that he can in any particular situation. And again, it just shows when he turns up to these live events, you realise how good a player Chalky still is and exactly what he brings to the table for his squad.
It was the exact same scenario when we went to Worlds. We was all like, yeah, Chalky's definitely the weakest link on this team because that roster that went to Worlds was a really good team. I even at first put them up against taking down Renegades. But Chalky came out on top. Yet again, we sat in the tent and we just went, typical Jake White. You get in this LAN environment and he feeds off of it. He just releases the energy. And even when he's getting dumped on, we saw him get a few minor mistakes there, and then he'll just laugh it off.
Don't sugarcoat what you're trying to say. Just come straight out with it.
But you saw it. There are a few times he got dumped on. He just turned around. It's like, just laugh it off, carry on. I know I'm going to win this game. And that attitude, the attitude of Chalky is fantastic. No matter win, lose scenario, even at Worlds when they were going out, he still stood up, really happy, really proud. It's a really good mental attitude he's got.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think that's something at this level you need, and obviously you kind of see it more on players that have been around longer. It's definitely something that kind of develops, kind of grows within a player the longer it goes on with. And I think it's great. I mean, that's if you have a player like that, someone who can kind of shrug off those failures or when they really lose. It's not just about that player. It's about the entire team. You don't want to put your teammate in a bad position or a bad mood because maybe they'll hesitate, maybe they won't be thinking clearly, they won't be thinking ahead enough. And all of a sudden, it's a bit of a slippery slope. That's why it's called going on tilt, right? It starts and you just go way over. But yeah, to have that kind of that attitude certainly benefits his entire team. Let's move on to map 4 then and talk about this one here. Now, at this point, we thought it was going to end up 2-2.
We really did. And there was a couple of moments in this Fathom game where I thought Infused made a couple of, I'm going to call them out, and they choked a couple of times. There was one particular occasion I saw Warlord. He made a move into the gen when they were down 2-1. Sorry, I think it might even be for the second flag. I can't remember exactly what flag it was, but he decided not to go for the return when there was pretty much no pressure on him to do so. He got taken down in the generator trying to fight 2 people off respawn, and then they managed to actually cap that flag. And it's plays like that where I was just thinking, what are you trying to do here? Like, why are you not going for the return? Because the worst that can happen is you can die, and that is almost going to be returned. You're trying to put yourself in a position where you're going to have to make a really heroic play, outshoot 2 players, which is impressive. If he does that against the players like the Xmen, he's made a hell of a play, and he'll prove me wrong. But it's a very low percentage play he went for over a higher percentage play, and it's those small moments in games against teams like Xmen later on in the bracket that they cannot afford to make.
Again, we kind of touched on it before. We know they can play Slayer. They won the Slayers, and we said before coming into this, Slayer was their strong point. But certainly the objective really shows the cracks in their armor, and it was kind of on that one, like at one point. And just going back to what Mark said about the Warlord, we all kind of went, "Why did he do that?" You know. And fair enough, hindsight's a wonderful thing. We're like, that might have not been the greatest play in the book, but again, you've got to do what you got to do at the end of the day.
I mean, we said it earlier on, right? For me, it is a weakness. It's a one-directional team right now. It's something they're going to have to improve on. You cannot expect to beat great teams if you've got a weakness there or you're lacking in one area. So I think that's something they'll probably take away from that game and take away from this tournament and see, maybe they can beat other teams in those objective modes. But right now, it's not good enough to beat that team on those objective modes, so they've got to sort something out. But let's move on to map 5 now, because I'm quite interested in this map, because we actually started to kind of come back to the desk at this point, and by the time we got back upstairs, it changed.
Yeah, we thought it was over. We saw him, Xmen with a pretty insurmountable lead at one point. We came upstairs and it was like, there's 1 kill between the teams, and Batchford is going wild. So massive shout outs to Batchford. I think you sent a tweet out at the end of that game because he had some insane plays. I mean, the replays are showing at the moment Jimbo went off at the start of this game, but it's not how you start a Slayer. It's very cliche to say it's how you close it out, and Infused just played it absolutely down to the T. And one thing I need to highlight is how well they used the plasma caster on this map. I always saw Batchford running around, and the amount of shots, this was almost a disgusting double kill, by the way. I'm so disappointed he misses that headshot, but they just used that plasma caster and got so many kills in the hallways, and it just seemed like they had control of it pretty much the entirety of the map.
Yeah, it was a good comeback, especially just to get snipe control and then pull it back to where they did, and then we saw at the end Batchford just going off. I think he ended the series on 19 kills there,
yeah.
I do believe.
Pretty sure it was, yeah.
And even when he did die, it was the fact that he was still in a good position for his teammates to collect his weapons and just carry on like nothing happened. But and the one thing that I actually mentioned, and we called it out there as well, when you look at Xmen, they're all fired up, high fives, come on, we've won a map. When Infused won a map, they're all just like, very
it felt
quiet,
like,
very calm.
Hey, we've won a map.
Yeah, I really want to see a bit more. Come on, boys, we've done this. And get fired up. And
Coach Sims.
No, but that's what I was wanting. I really want to see them get a bit something behind him, just get stuck into the next map and get really fired up because they were doing well even at the start. I think we actually heard in a listen. Oh, well done, boys.
Yeah, it's like if I don't know what it is. It's the character of the player. I think. I imagine if me and Rich were on that team and we beat them,
there would be some language.
There would be language, but we would also be making them aware that we've just won that game. Let's go. Oh, well,
and then we just said,
probably
because
boys.
we have taken a map. Jolly good show.
It's not good enough to win a map. You have to win a series.
Yeah, I mean, and shortly after you 2-1, of course, you'd wake up. But let's move on. Let's move on then to map number 6, where it eventually kind of got rounded out here, and I was expecting it again. And really, for me, that map 5 was one of the ones where it could have ended, and we thought it should have ended here. But I didn't see anything from Infused that ever made me go, they're going to take this series. And of course they didn't, and Xmen took it. But let's talk about map 6.
Well, again, it was a case of watching Chalky play almost perfect objective gameplay. He was alive for so much of this. This was a huge play, by the way. Ramirez, you sneaky devil, picked up those rockets. He didn't actually do much use with the rockets when he actually got them. But yeah, going back to Chalky, he did such a good job of just rotating around, baiting hills, picking up kills, and it just seemed all of the time on this map that the Xmen had a numerical advantage in kills, which makes Strongholds is such an unforgiving game type. If you do not have numerical advantage, you're not winning your battles. So Xmen played that almost perfectly. Infused, you just couldn't get out of a spawn cycle, and it was, in my opinion, it was Xmen playing that almost to perfection, whereas Infused just couldn't get a foothold in the game.
I don't want to call it the tilt factor, because I don't think it's the right time to use it. However, that was the experience factor there. It was, and we've seen this time and time again from this team in the Pro League, especially when they're playing a team like Pulse Gaming. They just rubber band it back. When the going gets tough, they got down themselves. Things really escalated quickly because they just looked like they just, at the end, couldn't be bothered. Like, we're done with boys. It's move on to losers and shake it off. So Xmen took full advantage.
Which actually kind of reminds me of Dinosaurs yesterday when we saw them in their last game and they kind of knew they were losing. It was like, they're not really trying maybe as hard because they know they're in a very difficult position. They know they're going to get taken down. And it's really, you get really frustrated because it's like, just nothing we can do. And even if we break it now, we're so far behind that unless we do the same thing to them, we just can't do anything. So yeah, I think it's kind of a similar situation anyway. However, that's kind of nicely put a bow onto that one. Let's have a little look at the bracket to see where we've got so far and what's actually happened in this tournament. So as you can see, our first 2 games have been completed. Fabi took down Vibe 4-0, but that scoreline doesn't tell everything about that game. It was close in a few of those maps. Then we got Xmen taking down Infused. And that was pretty much how we thought it would go. That 2nd and 3rd seed coming in. But that means our winner bracket game is going to be Fab E versus Xmen. And our loser bracket game, our game that is coming up next, is Infused versus Vibe. Now, that should be an interesting game, gentlemen. In fact, both of them should. Is there any kind of upsets or anything amazing you think is going to come out of these 2?
I think looking at it, the bracket's going to expect it to be. That they are kind of what I call that initially. However, I've got to say, Vibe, after what they put up against Fabi at the start, I still think Fabi will beat Xmen, and I think Vibe will beat Infused, but I think Vibe will really push Xmen either to a Game 7 or clinch it. I can see
it. You've gone way past it then. You've just gone straight, you picked the next 2 games and gone on to the one after that.
I was really done by the performance. I thought they put up, fair enough, they got 4-0'd. But in doing so, they put up a really good challenge, and I was superbly impressed.
It's interesting looking back. We did the HCS listening. That's the first time we actually looked at the potential brackets that we could have. It's all working out at the moment, but the games that are coming up, there are so many little factors that could change everything. I mean, the series that you just talked about there, the potential Vibe Xmen series. I mean, that is going to be an insanely loud and energetic series, and I can't wait to watch that one.
Awesome. Well, watch it. We will do. It is going to be those games coming up. And the next game coming up here right now on this wonderful arena. It's going to be Infused versus Vibe. You're not going to want to miss it. Join us right after this.